Oh, you're recording?
I didn't know if you were going to say something interesting.
It wasn't interesting. It was a waste of a minute and 20 seconds.
Oh. Rose-tinted reels, right? We're back.
We're back, and I think we're alone now.
I feel alone all the time.
There just doesn't seem to be anyone around.
Well, there's a little cat right here.
Well, you're just ruining my musical interlude.
There's also a dog right there.
There is. There's a dog at my feet, cat to my left, cat to my right.
That sounds like a great rap song in the making. I think you need to work on it a little bit, workshop it some.
I don't know. You've heard me rap. It doesn't really go well. I think you said I'm the whitest person you know.
Well, you're definitely the whitest person I know, but I don't know that I've heard you rap. Have I heard you rap?
I'm pretty sure you have, but it's not good.
Uh.
I don't know.
Would you mind busting a rhyme right now?
I'd prefer to not, because there's a lot that I want to discuss today.
Oh, me too. But nothing is so pressing that we can't pause it for a moment to hear you rap.
Let me prepare something, and perhaps for our next film, I will lead us in a small rap. I used to know all the lyrics to Ludacris's "Ho."
Okay, go ahead.
I said used to.
Oh, okay. Well, so no, I think what you should do is you should come up with a rap about the movie. Like Will Smith would do.
Does that mean I have to do it cleanly?
Not necessarily. You can swear. You can drop a swear if you need to.
A swear. Just one.
Yeah,
everybody gets one.
Drop a swear or two. I'll give you two.
Yeah, I've never been comfortable with singing or
swearing.
No, I'm fucking great at swearing.
Oh man, that was pretty good. You landed it.
I landed it, but it felt weird to do because I usually try to.
It was myself, artificial,
yeah.
So it kind of came out of nowhere, but still.
Yeah, people often will comment that like I'm the most Disney princess type of person. Very reserved,
blonde,
and
blue-eyed,
poised, and
white,
not sweary. But the minute they get behind the wheel with me, that's when it all comes out. Like, it's road rage at other drivers. Now, I don't tailgate, I don't speed, I don't do crazy things. I just get very...
I've been in the car with you when you have braked because someone like 5 miles in front of you braked.
Yeah, I'm overcautious, but swear like a sailor at them. Oh my gosh, I turn into like this black hole of disgusting, angry words that don't happen anywhere else except the car.
It's true. Well, the last time I drove with you, as far as I remember, it was quiet swearing. Like, you don't yell.
Sometimes I yell. It just depends on the situation. Maryland and Virginia, we have some very unique drivers, and they make some interesting choices, and I feel like I verbally have to let them know.
Do you roll down your window and shout out at them?
Never. No, I would be embarrassed if someone saw or heard me outside of my social group.
So if like you start shouting at somebody within your car, like your windows are rolled up, you're nice and safe in your little cocoon, but you're yelling at somebody and then you're kind of coming up to a red light. Do you like start kind of quieting down as you get closer to them, like you're pulling up next to them and you can kind of see them, you're like, you got I still hate you.
Pretty much, yeah. It's kind of like the yada starts getting into matches.
Matches. Well, that's nice. So, do you ever kind of get aggressive with people?
No, it's because I don't want to cause an accident. I don't ever want to be the reason why there's an accident. I will get around someone if I can. I always do it safely. Like, I don't make any cutthroat decisions.
So you've never like brake checked somebody? Whoa, that was an evil smile.
No, it's so if someone's trying to join my back seat, I do help them along a little bit.
Okay, there you go.
But that's only, when they are being super aggressive at me and they already are too close to my car. I make sure that I go the exact speed limit in that case, because usually there's ways to either get around me. I'm going the speed limit, usually 5 or 10 over the speed limit.
Oh my God, arrest her.
I know, the worst. But if someone's riding my bumper and I'm already going 10 over, That was a luxury that you now lost. I'm no longer going to go the 10 over.
I've actually done like more extreme things. Like I'll be on the highway, and if someone's like tailgating me, I'll start to go 15.
15 miles per hour?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I won't do that because that's going to affect everyone else's day, not just the person behind you.
Yeah, but that person's got to live with it. It's their fault. Have you ever had someone follow you home because they're upset about things?
No. And I've had friends where that's happened.
It's happened to me.
Yeah. You and my friend Lori, it's happened to both of you guys, but not happened to me as far as I know.
Yeah, I had someone follow me into my neighborhood, and I realized that they were doing it. So there was a roundabout in my neighborhood, where I used to live anyway, and I just started going around and around in the roundabout. Like seriously, for about 5 minutes I did this.
Like
and they
you were
just
lost?
No, I was doing it very obviously. Like I rolled down my window and I started looking at the car, like with my arm out. And so I just did that for a good like 5 minutes, and eventually they just gave up. They drove away. They
got dizzy at the like going home.
I was planning things out. I was like, all right, my gas tank is about like, 1/3. I can keep this up for like a couple hours. It's fine.
I always had an exit strategy. Like I know where the closest police station is if I ever needed to drive on to a police station if I was sure someone was following me. Like I have a contingency plan ready, but luckily nothing has caused me to have that kind of distress. Now, I will say the worst thing that ever happened to me on the road, it was the day I got my driver's license and I drove myself to high school the first time by myself, without my mom, without anyone in the car. Driving back, I was so excited. I had, I was listening to a Cake song in the car.
Nice. Which Cake song?
Going the Distance. I don't think that's the name of it, but it's Going for Speed. It's the one that sounds like it's a driving song.
Oh, okay.
And a motorcycle cop pulls me over.
I've never had that happen before. That's so cool.
Oh, well, to me it was terrifying because I'm like, okay, what did I do? What did I do? Like thinking, because I wasn't speeding at the time. I was driving this ancient Honda Accord, like it was as old as I was. And he gets out of the car, he pulls out his nightstick, and he kind of walks up
Christ.
condescendingly in my car. Doesn't like lift his visor or sunglasses, and he just kind of taps on my window with it. And I roll it down, and he's like, "Say hi to your dad for me." And it was my dad. Because it turns out that it was my dad's friend, Mr. Lorman. Yeah.
So like wrong.
Like I needed new pants. Like,
say hi to your dad for me. That sounds so sinister.
Well, I mean, it turned out that it was my dad's friend, and he just happened to be coming home at the same time I was going home from school, and just like I still get palpitations thinking about it.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I've never had any friends in law enforcement, so
gotcha.
When I get pulled over, it usually ends with me having a ticket.
Knock on wood, I've not had that experience. I don't
You've never had a ticket? Mm-mm. Maybe this is just a lady thing. Maybe ladies don't get tickets.
No, other funny story. So my mom was driving my sister around looking at universities back when my sister was about to go to college. And my mom was absolutely speeding. She was absolutely going like 90 miles per hour. Mm-hmm. And mom gets pulled over and she's like, nudges at my sister. She's like, "Watch this," and she just whips up the waterworks, and
that's so terrible. Cop, watch this.
Yeah, and so whips up the waterworks, and cop comes up. It's a lady cop, and she's like, "Calm down, man." And my mom got the ticket.
That's great. That makes me happy.
Yeah, it was like as soon as she said it, mom like sobered up. Like,
watch this. Oh shit.
Oh, didn't realize it was Officer TJ Hooker.
Can't manipulate this one.
She's stone cold.
Well, do you have any podcast news for us today?
Well, this is our last of the horror season.
Gosh, blast it. We're going to have to return to normal movies after this?
I know. Well, maybe. So I will say, they don't always have to be not horror movies outside of the horror season. However, I think I'll get less leeway in the films I suggest now that it's outside of the horror season.
Oh, yeah. This is a very modern movie we're doing today.
Yeah, you gave me a lot of liberties.
I'll let you have this one because you were very passionate about it.
Yes.
But now we've got to go back to like 1807. I want really old movies. Talking 1791.
Okay.
I want biblical movies. Where is the documentary about Jesus? Christ, that is.
I don't think I have one that I could recommend. Like, if we're talking about Bible movies or Bible stories within movies, like the Ten Commandments with Yul Brynner.
No, I want like a movie that came out during the life of Jesus.
That does not exist.
What? Why?
Well, films
that seems
weren't
like such an
invented
oversight.
yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Jesus didn't invent film? I thought he was supposed to be the son of God. He couldn't even...
I bet he could. He just knew that
we weren't ready.
Hand.
He didn't turn his hand to it yet.
Yeah, it's, you know...
We weren't ready.
We were not ready.
I see.
And now it's bedlam.
How good would that have been as a method for spreading the truth?
Oh, God. Like, I will show evidence of my glory. Look, I invented cinema.
How great would that have been? But then he could have done a film version of the Bible and everyone would have loved it. You wouldn't need to read. A lot of illiterates at that time.
Sorry. Because most of the Bible centers around stories that were taking place at the actual... Like, Jesus can't film all the Jesus parts of the Bible because they haven't happened yet.
Well, that's not my problem, is it? There could be a sequel, obviously.
You're not Jesus.
No. No, there could be a sequel, obviously.
Bible the sequel?
Yeah. So Moses did the original.
He moseyed.
Yeah, he moseyed it around and he did his thing, made the original, then Jeezy comes along.
Jeezy crazy.
Makes number 2.
And this time it's personal.
And then and then whoever, like Luke or whoever comes along and does the third one that everyone doesn't like quite as much, but it's the epic conclusion. It's got the apocalypse, everybody's coming back from the dead and such.
So you're saying that we get to see, in this version of the world, we get to see a preview of the apocalypse and the rapture that have not yet taken place? Or
No, I'm saying Jesus...
Hang on, don't ascend yet. The rapture is happening, but watch this movie about it.
Exactly, see? It would be a great thing. I think Jesus missed a trick.
You know what, though? I bet the rapture would need some sort of like flight instruction for safety kind of video happening, like keep your arms in place and make sure you wear your seatbelt as you ascend or descend.
I bet some really overzealous Christians would probably try to ascend really fast and they'd end up hitting people on the way up.
Yeah, and you can't have that. That's an automatic dismissal.
No, I bet you break your neck on the way to heaven. And how embarrassing would that be, having to get to the rosy gates or whatever? And like St. Paul or whatever. Who's at the gate? Is it St. Paul?
I thought it was Paul. Paul at the pearly gates.
I think it is. Anyway, He would have to fix your neck for you. And then he'd be like, oh, how did this happen? I just saw you on earth and your neck was fine. How did this happen? I was overzealous. I just wanted to get here. I love God so much.
So what you're saying is that St. Paul, in addition to all the other things that St. Paul did and does, I'm air quoting, he's also into chiropractic?
He can do anything. He's better than Jesus. Jesus said we weren't ready for film, so he didn't invent it. I mean, how stuck up is that? But Paul, he's fine doing almost anything for people. He's a people person. Anyway, so on podcast news, I only have notes that I want to talk about for like The Conjuring. Do you have anything else that's...
So on podcast news, I'm actually excited. Today is kind of a perfect day to cap our horror season. It's rainy, it's overcast, it's a little spooky. So I'm very pleased with how our first horror season went.
Oh yes, it was a very good, hard-hitting horror season.
And I feel like I learned something about you.
What's that?
Oh, just like I learned more about your tastes and your likes and dislikes and your flavor of ridiculousness that you enjoy, that you like savor like a nice Worcestershire.
Worcestershire. So what I've got on the topic of The Conjuring, I just wanted to kind of put it out there that my own skepticism for the supernatural is just going to it's going to color my analysis of the characters. Even though I acknowledge that the reality of the supernatural in this movie's universe is real, and I accept that. But still, some like the willingness for some people to believe that it is something supernatural before thinking of anything else, that's kind of going to be on my mind. I have a little bit of trivia on the real people, but not too much.
Yeah, there's a quote around them that I really liked, which was Ed and Lorraine Warren didn't meet a house that they didn't want to believe was haunted.
Although the personalities of the people in the movie are very like Like
they're endearing in the movie.
Oh, you think so?
Oh, yeah.
So, but they seem very like, oh no, we're skeptical of everything, but this is real. Like, I don't believe in, like, the mother comes up to her and she's like, oh, you've got to like hear me out. And they're like, yeah, we know you think it's haunted, but not everything's haunted. And then she's like, please believe me. And they're like, okay.
Well, all right, if you insist.
Well, if you ask me twice, I mean, you must be telling the truth. So what do you think of the term supernatural? I'm going to throw that down and you can interpret that question any way you want. And then I'll come in with my explanation.
Well, automatically what happens when you just say the word supernatural is like I get a flash on a screen, the word supernatural, and then suddenly Carry On My Wayward Son comes to mind.
Right. And then a guy that looks suspiciously like a Russian.
Zach has this thing where he thinks that Jensen Ackles looks Russian.
From the show Supernatural, yeah.
I can't tell if he means this as an insult or a compliment.
No, not necessarily. A lot
of
of Russians look nice. I'm not saying that Russians are ugly. That's your thing, man, clearly.
What?
Don't worry about it. But no, I think Jensen, it's just something about, he's got the shape of his head and his haircut's very Russian.
Interesting. Yeah, for me, my heart will always belong to Misha, to Castiel.
The guy with the nice trench coat?
Yeah.
See, I haven't seen much of this show. I've seen bits, but I feel like I need to dive in.
It's entertaining, and you won't have a lack of things to watch for a while because, you know...
It's 1 million seasons long?
It's 1 million seasons, and each season is at least 20 episodes. So you'll have a lot of entertainment. And if you can get past the Leviathan season, you're golden. I think it's 6 or 7. However, I will say that it's through the Leviathan season that you get to meet my Felicia Day.
Oh, see, I think I did watch that season because I remember seeing Felicia's Day kind of popping
Hacker
around.
Supreme.
Yeah, she was cool. She is cool.
She is cool.
She's the bomb.
As you know, I love her.
Well, you wept in front of her, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. Cried like a baby.
Oh, you poor thing. So Supernatural.
Outside of the show.
Yeah, just the concept of something being supernatural. Mm-hmm. So, especially as it's depicted in this movie, it's a real phenomenon, or real phenomena. It can be verified. It can be cross-examined. Multiple people see the same thing. Mm-hmm. It can be tested. Mm-hmm. It's
replicated.
It's interacted with the real world. It's pulling a girl's hair. It's pulling the legs and stuff like that. So it's interacting with the real world. Mm-hmm. So at what point does it stop being supernatural and it's just another facet of nature?
So that's an interesting question. So I think part of the problem that we would have in a world where these events are actually taking place is the skepticism that people have around it because they haven't experienced it, therefore it's not true. It would have to happen to enough people, or they would have to see and witness and believe what they were experiencing to. Well,
so, but this is kind of, there are two sides of this thing. Either it exists or it doesn't exist. Now, someone like myself would say in real life, it doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. But if it did exist and I didn't believe in it, that's kind of irrelevant. So if it does exist, then it's part of nature.
Okay.
That's my contention anyway. So it's part of nature and it's part of the natural world of things that can be studied. So heaven and hell or whatever is clearly some sort of realm. And I don't know if we can interact with those other realms, but if someone's sent out of hell and they're some sort of witchy demon or whatever, and they're able to interact with humanity in a way that we can test and examine, then that's part of nature.
I think
it's a natural
it becomes
process.
Part of the natural process when we can thoroughly and quantifiably explain it. And I think that's something that we haven't been able to do. And so supernatural kind of alludes itself to a theology which can never really be proven.
Well, but I don't think that that's necessarily true because something being part of the natural process doesn't necessarily mean that we can explain it or that we have explained it. There are many things in science that we can observe, but we can't explain. There are many things that we can see evidence of, but we like dark energy and matter and things like that. We don't know everything about that yet, but we observe that it's there and it's clearly part of some sort of natural phenomenon. But also a simple question like how many birds are flying in the air all over the world right now? It's impossible to answer that question, but it has an answer.
Yeah.
But we could never know that, but it's part of some natural process. All the birds are doing their thing, but we can't know the answer to that question.
So I think this may be a better conversation to have with someone who has more of a devout belief system, who really buys into that, versus me, who I like to entertain the thought of those things being real, but I don't have enough, I'll say, of a backbone in it to firmly attest to.
Well, but I'm not even saying that it requires the supernatural, or what other people call supernatural, to be real for us to discuss the term. Mm-hmm. So I think that what the supernatural claims should be something that would be under the auspices of regular science or just nature.
And I mean, to that end, in this movie, we have lots of tangible evidence versus in real life, I don't think we have the existence of tangible evidence that hasn't been disproven.
Well, that's certainly true. But in this movie, I mean, we're meant to believe that these people are, like, we're actually seeing the demons and stuff like that. So it's clearly true in the universe. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, just in that situation, it seems it's real. And so I'm just wondering if the term supernatural is the best term to describe those things.
This is a new thought for me, so I'd have to marinate on it before I give a
all right
answer. Yeah.
Maybe we'll come back to it at the end of the episode.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Actually, the supernatural element of this film was my biggest concern with your enjoyment level. But
I think it's a valid concern, mm-hmm. Although I do like things that aren't, I like fantasies and things like that. So it's not necessarily going to hamper my enjoyment, but yeah, we'll see if it did.
Okay.
So let's move on to comments. I don't think we've got any comments on our social medias.
When we announced that we were recording Conjuring today, Christopher Darklet issued the comment that it's a modern classic, as is the sequel. And our friend Marty said to our Scream episode that this is his favorite scary movie, and he's so excited for the newest one. So there is a new Scream movie coming out. I don't have any information on that, but it is rumored, as we discussed in the recording, that Matthew Lillard will be returning.
Favorite scary movie?
That's his favorite, he says.
Wow. I think it was also Kaya's, right?
Yep.
Didn't she say that?
Yep. So
millennials.
We did have those two exciting comments, and our newest 5-star review, a delight. And I will let Zach read it.
You want me to read it?
Yes.
Right. Seriously, you guys, what a completely fun, quirky, and insightful podcast. I love the random but also completely hilarious tangents. The trivia about each film is refreshing. I feel like I'm getting a new perspective on cinematic history, particularly for films I love, like Jaws and Rocky Horror Picture Show. Shout out to Timmy and his non-corseted self, who won't be sad because of this review. Smiley face. You guys are killing it.
So he didn't actually spell out the words smiley face. It's one of those colon.
Well, yeah, but if I didn't say that, then I would have just smiled into a microphone and people wouldn't know what I was doing.
Smiles can reach your voice. He looked very manic. So keep on giving us those reviews, and we will continue to read them as long as they are 5-star.
And give us a shout out on your fancy YouTube show. Getting famous out there without us. Bring us along. All boats rise to the same tide of a high tide when it's the moon's full, and I don't know where I'm going.
I think we need to work on your nautical analogies.
Okay, how do tides work? People don't know.
People
will never know. Same with magnets.
So you're saying that tides are supernatural?
It could be, yeah. I think God does the tides.
So seriously, help us out. Leave us reviews. Like us on Facebook. Help us get some visibility so we can continue to provide you with some entertainment.
Indubitably. All right, so let's go to Act 2, Inside the Reel. So let's go. What are the events for this year? What do you have?
Man, all of mine were depressing except for one. So I think I'm going to save my non-depressing one for the end.
Okay. So let's just get it out in the open. The elephant in the room was a very recent year. It was only 7 years ago.
It's true.
So, what interesting things could possibly have been happening this year?
Well, we were mourning the loss of Nelson Mandela.
Oh, depressing.
I know.
On a lighter note, the PS4 and the Xbox One released. That doesn't really counterbalance.
I'm used to being the positive person, and I'm not used to being the negative, but here we go. Boston Marathon bombing happened in 2013.
Oh.
Jesus. I remember watching that on the news. Like, we came home after work, and we were just glued watching the search of the person. Like, he was hiding in a boat that's grounded. It was a grounded boat, and
Yeah, that's right. We were in the apartment at the time.
We were at the apartment. I was dating British guy Steve at the time.
That guy.
It was the worst.
Oh my God, I'd forgotten about him until just now. He was the worst.
He literal worst.
Oh my goodness.
But
British people are not all that bad, right?
No, none of the British people I've met have been quite like this. But I will say that it is to your credit that we broke up.
Oh, I compared him to a character on a Ricky Gervais show.
On Extras, yeah.
Yeah. It was
some very boastful guy.
Yeah, I can't remember the actor's name, but yeah, he was playing kind of very braggadocious. I was in the SAS. And he even had an accent that was kind of like that.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't like a posh accent or anything like that. It was,
it was very kind of middle class, slow class.
Yeah. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Usually I like that kind of, like Eggsy and The Gentleman.
I've come around
Kingsman,
on it.
not The Gentleman. Sorry, wrong movie.
Though The Gentleman was a good movie. I did like that. Oh, but yeah, lower class accents, I've come around on them. I think that too many Americans kind of fetishize British accents, like all of them. There are some nasty sounding British accents. Talking West Country, I've come around a little bit on Manchester, but Manchester's a little bit like everything they say.
That's charming.
Thank you. And I don't know, there's some other ones that are kind of just a little bit.
I really enjoy like a Welsh accent. I don't know, I haven't really found a British one that I found displeasing to my ear, but
West Country, come on.
I'm trying to identify a West Country.
Oh, we don't like their kind around here. Around here, we don't like their kind. That kind of just like farmer pirate.
A farmer pirate.
That's the thing. It's both of those
I just imagine
professions.
like a land ship.
Yeah. I would love a combination of those professions. But yeah, for some reason, all farmers and all pirates in British things they have a West Country accent.
Oh, so kind of like the ship's mate in Pirates of the Caribbean, the one that's unlucky to have a woman on board. Is that West Country?
It's bad luck to have a woman on board, even a miniature one.
So is that the one that you're referring to?
I guess that seems kind of West Country.
Oh, I kind of find that endearing. Or like, because it kind of has this, I don't know, the way you were doing it, it almost has like a nod to Irish, Scottish kind of feel to it, kind of non-committal to either, but...
Possibly
but that
it might
also
have influence.
Could be your performance.
It might be my delivery is imperfect in some way.
So my homework, I will look up
West Country.
Yeah.
Well, what's his name? Darren Keaton from the British Office.
Yes.
That's a West Country accent.
I don't have a problem with that.
Oh, so Steve Merchant.
Oh, I love Steve Merchant.
That's a West Country accent. I love Steve Merchant too. He's an amazing and really clever man. His accent is silly. He even acknowledges it's silly.
So because it's exotic, I guess.
See, and that's the thing. All Americans have that opinion of British accents, and I'm immune to being so stunned by the accent, and now I find a lot of them kind of silly.
I love Richmond in IT Crowd, how he speaks, and I think that I'm trying to think of where that would fall in the world of British accents.
It's a posh accent.
Yeah, and I love also Moss, but Moss is more kind of
South London.
Yeah, you really have this like on a map. Like you're prepared for all of the British people I know.
Yeah. Well, these are the shows that I really love. So
Yeah. So anyway, what else happened in 2013?
Google released their prototype for Google Glass.
Edward Snowden starts his release of NSA documents.
Oh.
See, that one wasn't so much depressing so much as it was a thing that was kind of interesting that happened in the world.
Well, it also implied that the NSA had been spying on us for years and centuries and such. What are you eyeballing?
So
got a critical gaze.
Your beverage container.
That's right.
Indicates that today you went to a Hardee's.
It does not indicate that.
Okay.
It indicates that yesterday I went to a Hardee's.
But so more importantly, I have never been. What do they have on their menu?
A Western bacon cheeseburger.
Okay.
And some other things probably.
Okay. Sorry, no, I'm not trying to judge it. I've never been.
I think it might have been the first time I'd been.
Are they the place that has the baked potatoes, or is that something else? Oh, okay.
I didn't get them. So we went to Hardee's just because we hadn't been there. And I had a chicken sandwich with bacon, and it was not good.
I will say that the staff that they have there always look questionable whenever I drive by it.
The staff look questionable?
Yeah, like
how are you getting a read on them so quick?
They look in your car like you're driving through a community you don't belong in, and they're playing a banjo.
I think you're No, I think you're misreading their look. I think they're looking at you like, "Oh, why are you going to Dunkin' Donuts? Come here instead."
Well, I don't go to that Dunkin' Donuts either. Oh. I usually just drive by them when I'm going to Safeway so I can make my own food.
See, well, they're looking down on you for not coming to their establishment. Nobody ever goes there. We were the only car in line.
I see a lot of older people go there, like senior citizens.
Oh.
But I've never seen someone our age just like, yes, I will partake in one of your sandwiches.
One of your Hardee's sandwiches.
You know what's really... I noticed that when someone talks about fast food establishments, I have a really hard time when they call them restaurants. They're like, yes, I went to one of your McDonald's restaurants. It's like...
Technically, but
maybe.
Not really.
Yeah. You went to...
Of course not, but maybe.
But maybe. Yeah, no, it always hits my ear weird when someone says, I went to a fast food restaurant. Yeah. Like, it is a restaurant. They serve food there, but it's not a restaurant.
But Wendy's doesn't even have that going for them. They don't even serve food.
You have a personal problem, especially with the local Wendy's.
No, all Wendy's. I've never been to a Wendy's that functioned as a proper eating establishment.
Well, I will say that if you want to really have the fat person of the world day and you really want to treat yourself, you want to get a Frosty from Wendy's and then go to McDonald's and get McDonald's fries and dip the fries in the Frosty.
Okay, so a few months ago, you may remember, KFC was doing a special promotional thing where they were serving, I think it was a chicken sandwich.
On a donut?
Between two donuts.
Oh, it wasn't even like a cut in half donut?
No.
Sorry, I like how annoyed you were with me for asking that.
Because I bought it. And I consumed it.
How are you not a bigger person?
I don't know, but also it made me hate my life. So I usually I have a bad moment like that, and then I swing the other way for like another month. I eat really well because I feel like such a piece of garbage. So,
Yeah, you bought it, and it did not go well.
Anyway, so in 2013, also, Vine released. Everyone loved Vine, and then where did it go?
To TikTok.
Well, Vine was made by Twitter.
Oh, I didn't realize that those were related companies.
Yep. But I think it went under because they didn't have license for music that people were using when they were uploading their videos. So they were sued into oblivion.
That checks out. And that also kind of makes me sad. There was one Vine star that I really enjoyed. Well, a couple. One was the Watermelon guy. Oh, he was a delight. Oh, I'll have to find you a clip.
Is this like Post Malone's father?
No, it was some guy who's like, the sound of lightning may be frightening, but watermelon. Like, and he just has like all these watermelon apparel things that keep him comforted. Like,
and this is fun to watch a person like this?
It's the way he says watermelon. I will have to find it for you because I'm doing a very bad job describing it. Like, it's watermelon and puns. It's everything I enjoy.
I didn't know that you were so passionate about watermelons. I know about the puns part of your personality.
It's more the puns than the watermelon. He could have been talking about anything, but
But it made you love watermelon because he incorporated it into his punnery.
Exactly.
I see.
And then also the guy who do story time and like, oh, you don't know story time?
See, I wasn't into Vine really. The only stuff I ever saw on Vine was like a compilation of Bo Burnham Vines.
I only saw Vines when they were put into a compilation put on YouTube.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So I'd see like a compilation of Bo Burnham Vines on YouTube.
Yeah. So I'm also not part of TikTok, but people will send me TikToks and I enjoy what I see.
You're not a fellow kid?
Yeah, I'm not with it.
So do you have anything else that happened on this year? We haven't gotten past this yet.
Birth of Prince George.
Oh.
That was the good news.
Oh, that was the good news. Oh, I'm sorry, I misjudged. So I'm not a royalist. What do they call them? Royalists? Royal family people?
I don't know.
There's a name for them. It's
the monarchy.
Monarchist. Monarchist. That's it. I'm not really a monarchist.
Neither am I, but that was still just, I think, the healthy birth of any child is good news.
I suppose so. But why does he get a special shout out? What's so great about him?
It was just something that happened that year. No other babies were born that year, apparently.
He was the best baby.
Yep.
Born the most healthy. What
is he, the president? Most healthy, best baby there ever was.
He had the most beautiful eyes. He had a full head of hair already.
So the synopsis of the film that we're about to discuss. Mm-hmm. The actual synopsis: paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren work to help a family terrorized by a dark presence in their farmhouse.
So I'm trying to make a name for myself for coming up with the most parsimonious way of describing a movie. Mm-hmm. My synopsis for The Conjuring 1 is 3 words. Priests aren't needed.
So my bad synopsis of the film: a dolly wants to make friends with some nurses, but gives up after 5 minutes into the film.
Yeah. So, well, I'll get into it. All right. So what do you have as far as trivia? I had a few things.
So one of the things that I would like to start with saying is that Conjuring 3 is due to release soon, which is dealing with the trial of Arnie Cheney Johnson, which is the most famous case in U.S. history of someone blaming the devil for the murders they committed.
The devil made me do it.
Exactly. It's the famous Devil Made Me Do It case. So The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It is the name of it, of the next movie.
Mm. So my first piece of trivia is that the film contains no sex, nudity, contains little profanity, tame and mostly bloodyless violence, and only brief depictions of alcohol and no smoking, and yet it receives an R rating. This was solely for the scare factor alone.
Yeah, they had actually petitioned for a PG-13 rating, and it was later bumped up.
Well, they petitioned after they said it came back with an R rating, and they said that no matter what edit that you make, it's always going to be an R rating because it's too scary.
Mm-hmm. And it's true.
So they didn't.
And
put up
honestly,
any more of a fight.
Can you name a good PG-13 horror? Because I can't.
Jaws.
I take back what I said.
You're making me dangerous. You're arming me with lots of film knowledge.
I was just trying to be divisive with my statement, but never mind.
Sorry.
I'll take my poo-poo attitude elsewhere.
Just read your next poo-poo trivia and I'll forgive you.
Okay. Well, it is one of the top 10 highest grossing horror films of all time. It was made on a relatively modest budget of $20 million, but went on to recoup that figure back nearly 16 times over to become one of the most profitable scary movies of all time. It was also the first horror movie since 2004's Van Helsing to gross over $300 million worldwide, and the 5th most successful supernatural tale in domestic history. But its most impressive feat is the fact that it is now firmly placed inside the top 10 highest grossing horrors ever.
What's its competition?
Horror of all time? Exorcist.
Top grossing. Yeah, I would assume The Exorcist is up there.
Poltergeist. That is a PG-13 wonderful horror movie.
Hey, see?
Yeah.
You're ruining your own argument now.
I know. It's the Gemini duality of myself.
Is that how things work?
Sure.
See, I think it only appropriate at this moment to let you, the listener, know that I also don't believe in star signs or meridian lines.
So what is your next fact?
So the production team made a 50-foot tall tree for the film. So
I didn't realize that was created.
I didn't either. They did a really good job.
It was very tree-like.
It was quite tree-like. They succeeded in the thing that they were trying to make. 50-foot tall. Wow, I wonder what they made it out of. What do you think?
Definitely not papier-mâché.
Bubblegum and...
Bubblegum and prayer.
Bubblegum and prayer. That's a great name for an album.
So the original film was actually supposed to focus on the Perron family, not the Warrens. They refined the story to focus on the demonologist element, which I think gave birth to the rest of the Conjuring franchise.
Might have been a good move for the franchise. I don't know. Do you think it would have been better if it had focused on the family or worse?
I like that it focused on the Warrens, but that's also because I really liked Farmiga and Wilson's approach to the Warrens. I thought that they were the more entertaining thing to watch going on in the film. Yeah, I don't know if you've been around teenage and preteen girls, but I can't handle more than a couple minutes of that, even when I was one.
Well, when I was a preteen and teenage boy, I wanted to be around them.
Yeah, but you had a different motivation, I'm assuming.
No, I thought they were very interesting people, and I just wanted to hear what they had to say.
So you were kind of like doing like a Steve Irwin, like writing in your journal, observing.
Oh, and this one said this. What a charming remark.
Crikey.
Crikey. I would write that at the end of every sentence. That was like a period for me. Or like back in the Telegraph or Telegram, whatever days, every sentence would end in stop. Every sentence would end in crikey. Okay, so apparently the film was shot in chronological order.
Interesting.
That is interesting, and it would be nice if more movies could be shot that way. Now, practically they can't because they have to change locations, so they have to do all of their shooting at one location before moving on to the next one. But it's weird because this movie did hop locations. Like we go to the school, and we go to the Warren home, and we go to see the priest that doesn't want to help because they're not in the church. Whatever. I really didn't plan on being so hard.
That aggressive.
But you
are anti-Catholic.
Anyway, it was odd to me that they were able to shoot chronologically. Although maybe the trivia was just leaving out the fact that maybe they'd shot everything chronologically at the house and then moved on elsewhere. I'm not sure. That's
possible.
Yeah.
Farmiga and Wilson spent time with the real Lorraine Warren to get a better understanding of the couple and the demonology. Farmiga also wanted to study her hands and gestures and mannerisms so she could more accurately portray Lorraine Warren.
So James Wan based the tone of the movie on the 1963 movie The Haunting.
I could see that.
Which is the movie we should have seen. But I don't know if you've seen it.
I have. And so the thing is, it's laughably not scary anymore.
Aww.
Like, they actually have this scene where this, like, kind of witchy-looking woman is on a skateboard, and they kind of, like, push her in front of the camera, so she's like...
I would love to have seen that.
It is something that is riff-tracked.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, dang. Well, maybe next year we'll watch it for the podcast.
Yeah. Sorry. And you guys couldn't see what I did, but
she floated by her microphone with her hands up in the air like she was surrendering to a police officer.
That's kind of what she did.
At the end of the movie, the Warrens say that they are going to investigate something in Long Island. This indicates the Amityville. But the movie was set in 1971, and Amityville supposed haunting didn't happen until December 1975. So they done goofed.
Yes, it's the inconsistency that truly ruined the film.
All right, so in a USA Today interview with Andrea Perron and Lorraine Warren, they asked the question, why didn't your family just leave the house? To which Andrea responded, I think we were supposed to have this experience and share it with the world. That seems like a real big cop-out.
Yeah, well, for her sake, I would say she didn't have a choice. She was the child in that situation, but as far as the mother. Now, one thing that I always had trouble squaring was if you were one of the daughters that the mom tried to kill, how do you forgive something like that? Like, how do you internally, and maybe that's why they were so willing to accept the idea of a haunting, because it became a forgivable, or possession, it became more of a forgivable action.
So I Googled around and tried to find the claimed real chain of events. I think one of the daughters has written a couple books. Mm-hmm. I didn't get those books to read, but I also couldn't find any substantial pieces of information on the real, quote unquote, the real events. Do you happen to know if that particular event was supposed to have happened?
I do not know. I was just speaking hypothetically.
Yeah. My next question was, USA Today interviewer asked, did the exorcism attempted in the film really take place? And this is not a quote, but the article says, the Warrens, Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga in the film, made frequent trips to the house in 1974 to investigate, but Lorraine insists that she and her husband would never try an exorcism, which must be performed by a Catholic priest. However, a seance allegedly caused Carolyn Perrin to temporarily be possessed, which Andrea claims she secretly watched, made the chair levitate and throw her across the room.
So I just pulled up some of the interesting factoids about the actual haunting, and apparently there weren't just evil spirits in the house. There was actually friendly spirits, according to the family.
Yeah, I think I read that.
And I think
article.
April is the one that is the storyteller from this. Sorry, this is very boring listening to me read. I should have done more research.
Oh, we can just continue on. Do you have any more trivia?
I do not.
All right, then let's move on to Act 3, movie analysis. So, Allyson, what was your nostalgia rating for this film?
I believe I gave it a 7 when we last recorded.
And what would you predict my real rating will be at the end of this?
So because of the technical proficiency of the film and I think good storytelling, not necessarily the story itself, I gave my prediction 6 out of 10.
All right, so that's the real rating, which is the critical rating. What do you think my heart rating will be?
And that's what I'm having trouble deciphering in this. So I'm going to say 5.5 because just from what I'm gleaning from our experiences together, this is the first time I've tried to scare you. Like Tale of Two Sisters, I thought you would be intrigued at kind of the puzzling nature of the film. Apparently, it was too puzzling on the first watching.
It wasn't a puzzle. There was no information to put together.
Yeah. So it was a all white scale puzzle.
Yeah. There was just nothing. And then all of a sudden at the end, they gave me my pieces.
Yes. So in this one, it's hard because I want you to like it because I like it so passionately. But I think that there's going to be problems with the story that you're going to have trouble letting go to enjoy it. So it's I'm going to say your heart. I will give it 5 or a 5.5.
Okay. So are you ready to move into the time stumps?
Yes. So mine is real easy. It's the very first second of the film, the opening note of the music when it's just getting started. I felt did an excellent job of stressing you out.
All right. I'm going to hit this play button and hope that it works. Oh, yes.
And much more enjoyable than the Insidious opening, which was the high screeching strings.
So,
Sorry. It just does such a good job just like making me chilled.
Yeah, it's nice. It's got a nice spooky tone.
Mm-hmm. It scares us just thinking about it. When you hear it, you're going to think we're insane.
Okay, so...
So you responded, sure.
So this is... I've dog-eared this moment as Basil Exposition. So this is just...
Basil Exposition here with the news.
Yeah, so this is just a data dump of like, here's all the information you're going to need. So you have to like wade through like 5 minutes of us just talking at you. I do have a few problems with this. Firstly, so do you find this doll to be...
horrifying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So the doll did absolutely nothing for me in this. I thought that was the least... It didn't scare me. It was a 0 for scares.
So the real Annabella's Raggedy Ann doll.
I read that, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that this was made to be strategically unsettling, looking for a doll. Like, I don't know why the mom would have got it for her. So in the first Annabelle movie, where we learn kind of... We get some hints to the origins of the doll. We later find out in Annabelle 2 who created the doll, how the doll got initially possessed, and just some kind of interesting bits of information surrounding the doll. Mm-hmm. But even the pristine Annabelle before she's cracked and has fading and looks like she's been in the dumpster a little while and begging for food on the streets, and just she's always looked creepy as hell to me. Like,
well, so you have a pre-existing problem with dolls.
Yes, absolutely. Dolls are one of my biggest fears. They are absolutely terrifying.
I don't have that fear. I don't know if the Raggedy Ann would have been better. I think that might have gone into an area of comedy. Having a Raggedy Ann doll
she's a little
doing
too
these
like
things.
soft and adorable.
I don't know. Nothing. I watched Dead Silence years ago, and that was all about like ventriloquist dummies and stuff like that. I thought that was creepy.
I think Raggedy Ann's a little creepy too.
Oh, she is. But if you try to show me a Raggedy Ann without like real facial features, they're just sewn on. There's, I don't know. Maybe there's a way you can make that creepy, but I can't picture it. But I also think that when you try really hard to make something like a doll or a clown creepy by making it darker and more gothic looking and have scars and stuff like that, I think the less creepy it actually is. Mm. So like I thought that the original Pennywise in the original It miniseries was super creepy because they didn't do anything really to make him look weird. He just looked like a clown. Like he had a big forehead, but that was kind of basically it. And it wasn't until he kind of semi-transforms when he's killing someone and gets sharp teeth that he looks a little bit inhuman. But he was super duper creepy, and that really did it for me. So I don't know. It might have been more creepy for me if the Annabelle doll hadn't been all scarred up and had like a crack in her eye, and they had just done so much to kind of obviously look like, hey, this is a demonic doll.
Yeah,
Like a hand or a leg was in a different position, then its head was looking up instead of down, and then one day it was in a completely different room. It was moving around by itself.
Ever think that maybe somebody had a key to your apartment and was just playing a trick on you?
That's exactly what we thought. But never once did we find any sign or evidence of intrusion. And
If someone had a key, which he just suggested, why would you find evidence of intrusion?
maybe other things amiss is what she, like, nothing else was touched.
Right, so they're trying to play a trick on you, so you think they would have used the key and then smashed some other stuff inside.
Or something, yeah.
But they're trying to play a trick on you with a doll. Why would they do that? Would be too many things.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they were creative.
These are just stupid people in the beginning of this movie.
So I led you to believe that the doll was possessed?
Yes.
Yes.
Camilla got in touch with a medium. We learned from her that a 7-year-old girl named Annabelle Higgins had died in this apartment. She was lonely and took a liking to my doll.
Oh, and also, this is a grown person we're talking about right here, who's got a doll out. And obviously for long enough that they're noticing that it's changing hand positions and head positions, and then it's moving room to room from day to day. How long has this doll been out, and why? And why hasn't she cleaned it? It's filthy.
So she makes it sound like it's been over a good amount of time where it would become, someone would have come clean with the prank if that's what it was.
Right. And it just seems like if they noticed something was weird about it, why did they keep leaving it out?
Yeah. No.
Ever think that maybe somebody had a key to your apartment and was just playing a trick on you?
That's exactly what we thought. But
That has the air of someone going, well, we're not stupid. Of course that's what we thought. But then we ruled it out for no good reason.
never once did we find any sign or evidence of intrusion.
And this all led you to believe that the doll was possessed?
Yes. Camilla got in touch with a medium. We learned from...
Okay, so that was my second thing. So we got in touch with a medium. That was her first thought. Like, this is a doll. It's all right.
Remove the doll.
It just seemed like she was already kind of primed to think that something supernatural was happening, rather than somebody playing a prank, somebody in the house even.
Well, we also don't know their past lives, their experiences, those 2 ladies, and we
They're
don't ever
nurses.
find out who the guy is.
They're nurses, so they're somewhat intelligent, you'd think.
Well, I'm not saying that they're not intelligent, but we don't know what their past was that might make them believe that it needed a medium.
I suppose so.
her that a 7-year-old girl named Annabelle Higgins had died in this apartment. She was lonely and took a liking to my doll. All she wanted was to be friends.
When we heard this, we felt really sorry for her. I mean, we're nurses. We help people. So, we gave her permission to move into the doll.
Wait. You did what?
She wanted to live with us by inhabiting the doll. We said yes.
But then things...
Also, would it be your instinct, if something like this were happening to you, like there was a doll that was fidgeting about and stuff?
I wouldn't have a doll.
If you did. If you had a doll that was fidgeting about the house and, moonwalking from room to room and such. You called a medium.
Sorry, I just started hearing Michael Jackson in my head.
What if a doll did that, going from room to room every time he came out into the hallway?
What the fuck, doll?
I like that idea. Look, we've got a good spoof movie cooking up here. We've got Michael Caine as the killer. We've got dolls moonwalking.
Before we started recording, we supposed, what if Michael Myers was Michael Caine?
Yeah, that would be such a good version of the movie. Anyway, so you have this. You call a medium. You're like, Mr.
I wouldn't know
or
where
Mrs.
to look for one.
You go in the yellow pages for mediums. Do yellow pages exist anymore? You Google it. You Google local medium.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Senior or Madam Medium. What's happening here? They say, look, there's a child's ghost.
Uh-huh.
Really likes that doll.
Yeah.
Would love to be part of its life. Will you allow that doll to accept this spirit? You're
I
like,
ain't afraid of no ghost.
Now, my first reaction would be, of course, that makes perfect sense, but I'm going to call another medium.
Get a second opinion?
Get a second opinion. And if they say the exact same thing, then maybe I'd start to believe it. But okay, of course. I'm going to call a third medium. One from a different state.
Uh-huh.
and has no connection with you people. Have them come over here.
You don't think there's like some sort of union?
There could be a medium union or a large one. I don't know. Hey, so I'd have this third medium come over. If they say the same thing for the third time, then I'll go along with this. But they just, after the first medium, even if you believe that the supernatural is a real thing and mediums are a real thing, there are still liars out there. Mm-hmm. Why would you believe just one of these people?
Because if they're already primed to believe in these kind of events, perhaps they're also primed to believe the medium. I don't know.
But there's no qualifications needed to be a medium. I feel like you shouldn't ever trust just one of them.
Yeah. I'm not disagreeing with you.
All right, then.
Were you hoping I was?
Yes. I want someone to brawl with about this. Anyway, that's all I have for the scene.
I came home. She was sitting in the hallway. But we had left her in the spare room.
She's got crayons.
So, okay. I also wrote a note about this. So, first of all, I would never have accepted a doll like that. I would never have allowed it to move in. But why do grown women have so many crayons?
And all of them were red.
Yeah.
All they wanted was red crayons.
Yeah, like I was trying to think.
All right, so we just saw the words "Miss Me" on the ceiling, written in crayon by this doll.
Now the crayon is rolling across the floor.
All right, clearly some movement is implied by the doll. But answer me this.
Riddle me this, Batman.
Riddle me this, Batman. They just saw evidence that this doll is agile enough to walk on the ceiling.
Uh-huh.
And they think that the problem will be solved by moving it slightly outdoors and in a dumpster.
Well, we don't know that she's strong enough to lift the lid of a dumpster.
She's defying gravity and riding on the ceiling.
But that does not strength imply.
Even if it didn't, there's some amount of strength needed to do these things. But why would you just assume that it's fine? Let's just put it slightly outside.
Well, maybe there's enough people. So they said that she could only move when they weren't watching her. So maybe they assumed that being outside, there's enough of a potential to be seen that no one would see her come out of the dumpster.
In a back alley?
I don't know. I'm not these girls.
I think I would have put it, if that were the case, I would have put it on a morning show.
You would have put it on the street?
Yeah, well, I was going to say the street, but then a morning show sounded funnier, and so I went with that.
So there was a really funny video that I found where this couple did bring a possessed doll to a morning show and discussed all the problems, was able to then sell the doll on eBay, and then a couple weeks later, the next owner of the doll's like, yeah, they were completely serious, like, I'm scratched to hell. This doll's horrible.
It was only so they could sell it.
Huh. Maybe. There is a big haunted doll thing in the eBay world. She's a loud knocker.
Also, so they the previous scene where the doll had presumably written all over the walls and ceiling and stuff like that. Again, why would you assume that there was a possessed doll, not someone playing a trick on you? Call the cops and show them.
I mean, that would be a good time to call the cops, but they've already convinced themselves of a narrative.
The cops saved the day in this movie anyway.
I have a fun note about the cop.
So do I. Well, not a fun note, rather a serious note, but we'll get to that.
Okay.
Anyway, but just get someone, like, what are you going to do?
What are the cops going to do?
I don't know, but it's having more people is surely better than less people when you're being terrorized by anything.
I would agree with that assumption, yeah.
All right. And especially since in a moment they're going to...
You just like revved up for another... You're like, no, I'm not done.
I'm not done with this. So they're about to go to the front door and they find a note with some stuff.
Man, if at the end of this you're like, I loved it, I'm going to be so surprised.
All right. So they go to the front door. They look down. Oh my God, it's a note that says "Miss Me," which is what it said in the ceiling and stuff. So the front door was the one that was being knocked on, right?
We assume.
That's what the film seemed to be telling us. Mm-hmm. So they go to the front door, they find the note. And then in the other room is where they find the doll. Mm-hmm. Which, to me, if I were in that situation, would totally indicate someone was just in the hall knocking on the door. Someone is complicit in this ruse.
Well, she goes out into the hall to look.
Well, that's before they find the doll. But my point is, now see, it's a different sound. The doll's now knocking from inside a different room, which means it couldn't have been the one that left that note. I mean, seemingly it was, but somehow
Well, they left it on their way inside.
We are beyond.
Well, yeah, but
terrified.
there was someone knocking on the outside
Yeah.
of the apartment.
Maybe they threw their knock.
Maybe. Maybe they did.
I don't know what's going on.
How unwilling you are to accept that. You're like, yeah,
Sure. Why not?
in this world,
Anything can happen.
yeah, it's true. In this world, anything can happen.
All right, you got me there. So this timestamp was mainly just to kind of reinforce the trope in these types of movies that dogs have supernatural powers.
Pick my own room, or do I have no choice in that either?
Oh. Teenage lady.
Well, first cute boy she meets, she'll forget about Jersey.
Ah, great. Can't wait. Come on, Sadie. Sadie, let's go.
Pretty dog.
Yeah.
Hey,
Sadie
Come.
didn't deserve this.
No.
what's the matter with you? Hey.
She doesn't want to go in because it's haunted with stuff.
All right, suit yourself.
She even tried to warn them. Such a good dog.
So what is it with people believing that dogs have supernatural abilities?
People think that of cats also.
And birds. I've actually heard that of birds, too.
I don't know enough about birds. Birds kind of creep me out a little bit.
It was actually a story that Carl Pilkington read, so I don't know how accurate it is.
Yeah, no, it's, sometimes animals, they'll stare off in the distance and it looks like they're looking at something that we can't see. So maybe it has something to do with that, or because, I consider dogs and cats to have kind of pure-ish souls. And so maybe, they are more attuned to things than we are, or can sense things a little bit more clearly. I don't know. It always creeps me out, like when Wade or Clara just will look at something right behind me and I can't see what they see.
Oh, well, no doubt their senses.
That is a great face you're making.
Thank you. So no doubt they have senses that are higher than our own, vision and hearing and such like that. Mm-hmm. So they can definitely hear and see things that we can't see. But are you saying that that ghosts exist somewhat like UV light or radio waves in a state that we can't see them, but are physically there all the time? And so therefore can be detected by the sight of a dog?
In this kind of, we also attribute dogs to kind of having an empathic sense of humans we can trust. Like there's sometimes dogs will just simply not like someone, and we tend to judge the person that dog just does not like.
Well, I think there's actually been some studies to show that it's not that. It's the dog's picking up on what you're feeling about that person.
Oh, it's a projection.
Yeah.
But still, it's, before we had these kind of understanding in sciences, I think we tried to identify the why behind animal behaviors. And so now we are starting to develop a better understanding of it, but that's perhaps where this kind of legend came from.
But even if dogs did have that empathic ability, it would still be a processing of their visual field. So they'd look at this person, and based on their whatever understanding of human behavior, they would determine that they either like or dislike this person. Mm-hmm. But I'm asking, can they see the ghost?
We don't know enough of, and by we, I mean I don't know where the lore necessarily came from, but I would assume that they're sensing or feeling it, or perhaps even seeing blurs of it. But I don't know if, maybe between planes, dogs can kind of get a sense of those windows or elements between planes of existence, perhaps. And again, this is going based on this film and this universe and, what people believe in that I don't necessarily know or understand or believe in.
I got you. All right. So the next thing, I don't really have a timestamp for this, but in a bit, you're going to see the lady of the house get a bruise.
Yes.
I'm curious about that. The ghost or whatever made physical contact with her such that it would leave a bruise. Mm-hmm. How did she not wake up?
Well, we don't know if it was done kind of like psychically or I don't know necessarily how much of it was a physical touch, because there's a scene later in the film where she's napping and you see kind of a bruise handprint mark appear, and she didn't wake up from that. So I don't know how much of it is like a psychic force that's not necessarily something that would wake you.
Well, but if it regardless of what thing is hitting her, it's still making physical contact such that it's breaking blood vessels.
Maybe she was taking narcotics to help her sleep.
Okay, I'll buy that. That's the only thing that can make sense.
Yes. And if, the bruising doesn't make sense, that this whole movie just collapses.
All right, so here we go. Demon Antiques.
Oh, before we start. So in the most recent of the Annabelle franchise, we get to more in-depth explore different things that are in this room, which is one of the things that I wish there was more of an exploration of like Cabin in the Woods, looking at the other creatures. So I was excited in Annabelle 3. The movie was not fantastic. It wasn't the worst in the franchise, but...
How many animals are there?
The third one just happened.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that there'd been so many.
Yeah, the third Annabelle movie, we just get to explore different things in the room, which are kind of fun, like the samurai armor. There's also a bridal gown and just different things that are within the Warren Museum. And it's just... I just want to know more about the history of the different objects. I think that is interesting to me. Like just the real stories behind these created objects for the movie.
Indubitably. So I will complain that
Go on.
Why does he have all of these disturbingly dangerous supernatural artifacts in his home where his child sleeps?
So he
says he wants to keep it close, like having all the guns and such. Mm-hmm. I don't buy that metaphor.
So if we're trying to believe the altruistic side of the Warren family, it's so he could control how many times a priest would come to bless these items and keep their home safe. And the house was supposed to be under lock and key. If we're going with a gun analogy, a good gun owner would have some sort of safety mechanism in place to protect children living in the house. That she's a little girl, but Judy is supposed to be told, don't come in there.
But she's a kid. But also a gun owner doesn't have all the guns in the world. And his metaphor was like, if you take all the guns off the streets, they're not all going to be in one person's house. You're going to have a storage or like a warehouse or something like that.
An armory.
A bunker underground or something. Like do something that's more secure.
What the fuck's the grandfather doing?
But something more secure than just being another room in his house where his child can easily go in there.
So the quote unquote real Warren, I shouldn't say quote unquote because this
is the real Warren.
Yeah, the real Warrens, they had it slightly off property to not have it within their own home.
Oh, see, that makes sense.
Yeah. So in this case, I think for ease of filming, they just kept it in.
They made something make less sense.
I mean, there was a padlock on the door.
Oh, impossible to penetrate.
Well, it was also up high, the padlock.
They also have windows.
Semantics. You want natural light in a room like that full of haunted objects.
Exactly. Also, I might have gone in for some artificial lighting as well. It's pretty dingy in there.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. What kind of mudroom do you keep in here, Warren?
Yeah. Okay.
That's right. Everything you see in here is either haunted, cursed, or has been used in some kind of ritualistic practice.
So while I've got my back turned on you, I'm going to tell you, don't touch anything. Oh, God damn it, you went and touched something.
Nothing's a toy. Not even the toy monkey.
But he doesn't say that until...
Don't touch it.
He goes to touch it. What if he hadn't paused? What if he'd touched it? Would he now be possessed with a monkey soul or something?
He may have just stopped his own speech pattern to be like, no.
I think if you're going to come into like a gigantic room of demon artifacts,
you would want them all
front,
behind glass?
All behind glass. And if they're not, for whatever reason, going to be protected behind glass.
Church glass, yeah.
Tell the dude coming in, touch nothing. Before he goes and reaches out his hand to touch the thing.
Feels very Pan's Labyrinth. Don't eat anything.
I haven't seen that movie.
Oh, well, we will.
Oh, well, isn't it scary, or doesn't it worry you to have all these items right in your home?
Oh, that's why we have a priest
really
who comes
should.
by once a month to bless the room. Well, the way I see it is...
So when does a priestly spell wear off?
I don't know enough about kind of wording spells, but maybe just to...
I like that you're talking about it as if it's a real thing.
Well, no, I don't know enough about that world to know how often something would need a blessing.
I wonder if priests have like a book or something. Like once you reach
you're due for your monthly cleaning.
No, something like a ledger or something like. No, but I'm wondering if they've got like, all right, you've reached level 10 priest. So now your spells will last a month.
So it's like Dungeons and Dragons priests?
Yeah.
They're clerics?
Exactly. So like I wonder if like we had the Pope come in here, if his spells would last for like 3 years or something like that. And I'm wondering if it's like a budgetary issue or something that he doesn't get a better priest to come in and bless it for longer.
Something that just occurs to me. In this kind of an instance, how is prayer or blessing different than a spell?
Well, one has more of a fantasy connotation, and one is more.
Says the atheist.
Well, I was going to make I was going to make a joke. One has a fantasy connotation, and the other's magic. Hey, brought it around right here. Come on, that was good. No. Nope.
There we go.
Yes. I've done it. I earned my own applause break.
So yeah, so I don't know how often one would need like a restorative prayer kind of thing or how one would know one is overdue for one is not like a check engine light pops on.
No, I wonder if the room glows. Like when the priest
With,
first,
like a deathly aura.
No, the priest first blesses the room, and the edges of the room glow, and then as it fades away, the glow starts to go away. So right now you can see there's not really much of a glow. There's a little bit of fog in the background. I think that's actually the priestly spell wearing off.
Oh.
So when the glow becomes almost imperceptible, you have to call the priest back.
Okay,
that's when you know. But
yeah, to answer your question, I don't know if a Pope blessing would keep your room illuminated longer. They're like a cleaner energy source. I'm just trying to follow your analogy.
Yeah, so I just wonder why he thinks that it lasts a month. Like, what reasoning does he have for saying we need to do it monthly? Why not daily? Why not yearly?
Maybe they start to feel kind of that ominous presence where it just kind of weighs on you.
Yeah, it just seems like he made an assumption as just kind of he's rolling with it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's safer for these things to be in here than out there. It's kind of like keeping guns off the street.
Well, why not just throw them in an incinerator? Destroy them.
Well, that would only destroy the vessel. Sometimes it's better to keep the genie in the bottle.
So, isn't that also true of exorcisms?
That they have to funnel the spirit into something?
That it's in a vessel now, and if they remove it from that vessel, it's just going to go somewhere else?
Yeah.
So why does anyone ever do exorcisms?
Because they're trying to save that person that needs the exorcism.
But then you condemn another person.
Yeah, but for a time, in theory, exorcism, like if you listen to the wordings of the exorcism, they're trying to remove it from the vessel and banish it to hell.
Yeah, I remember them saying that in this movie. So they've got the power. How did they get out of hell?
Uh-huh.
All right.
I'm guessing there's like ways to leak out now and again.
I think that if the priests really cared about these people, they would kidnap the person who's been possessed, lock them in a dungeon, and just barely keep them alive forever so that the spirit can't go out and repossess somebody.
Well, I think the risk of that is that the spirit can jump ship. So, like, in your process of, like, sliding food underneath to someone in this prison, they could jump out or get out. There's no proofing to keep it from jumping from that person's body.
Okay, so you're worried that even if they were locked away in a dungeon and like locked in with like hundreds of other people that were possessed, so like the demons could jump bodies.
They're all going to jump to the same body, and that person's going to be super possessed.
Well, that's a good horror movie idea. We're coming up with a lot of good movie ideas today.
Patent pending.
Patent pending. Don't use it.
So I will say, like in the Exorcist film, the priest is actually strangling Reagan and trying to get the demon to leap from Reagan to him, and then he takes his own life.
Okay, so he throws himself out of the window. His body shatters upon the ground.
Yes.
And where doesn't the demon just giggle at the idea of that and then go to somebody else's body?
Well, it could be that if the demon dies within the living vessel, maybe it inhibits it in some way before it jumps again. I don't know enough about demons. So, like in Supernatural, a demon that dies within a living vessel can stay in that vessel, but eventually will have to find a non-decaying being to be in, so it would leap.
So, like Voldemort, when the Avada Kedavra spell went back on him, destroyed his body. His soul was kind of very diminished, but he could still possess smaller things, but it would wither them away and such.
And thank goodness he had the foresight to jump into someone who was constantly wearing a turban for some reason, because otherwise just give himself away.
All right, so I just...
You're having trouble buying this world.
I'm happy with the logic of some of the people existing in this world, I question.
Mm-hmm.
Say, is the Annabelle doll here?
Right this way.
See, the Annabelle doll he does have behind glass.
Yeah, strong enough of an entity that needed to be behind glass and...
Well, the other one he didn't want him to touch, so clearly that was bad to touch as well.
Yeah, I think everything in there you're not supposed to touch. And like you said, maybe there is a warning sign that says not to touch. But later in different franchises, we would find out that glass is special created. It is a holy relic of its own right that keeps it restored. I don't know if that's true of the Warrens, if they had such a special magic glass, but... And we never find out in this film that is, but we know that door is specifically locked, that it's contained with Bible scripture and crucifixes and things to try to keep it restrained.
I see.
At 22 even, we get our first creaking door. Not that one. Not yet.
So it comes in threes to mock the Trinity.
And that's
wow.
Amore.
That was an impressive creaking door. It wasn't as loud as A Tale of Two Sisters.
No, but they let you just savor it.
It was a very nice and long one.
And it had that really delicious horror movie trope creak, like the I'm insidious in nature. Like clearly not just windblown.
Yeah.
It's my best friend.
Seriously, what is it about little kids that are just so freaking creepy?
You're my friend, right?
No.
Yeah, let's play.
I said
so
no.
Also, later we would find out that the little boy that she's talking to, Rory, was helping her sister go into hiding. They're the friends. They're the ones who actually see each other and talk. Why isn't he trying to get her into the hidey hole?
Maybe we're going to find out that this has been a really long episode of Doctor Who. And Rory was just somehow...
the sentient?
Yeah, he was just caught in this weird spiritual realm.
You know, here she is sitting in a room talking to herself. Like, that's something that kids do. And that is just... I don't know that I ever had an invisible friend, but good, creepy.
Yeah.
When the music stops, you see him in the mirror standing behind you.
Okay.
But you have to twist the key.
Okay.
And you have to speak Latin backwards. I mean...
Also, clown.
All right, so we're just looking at this little spinny mirror. She's looking behind her. She's seeing a little bit of motion of a curtain or something indistinct. And then... silence. Be prepared.
Boo, Mommy!
That blew out the speaker in my ear a little bit.
So, yeah, they always do that. The horror movies always lower the volume until you're holding on to pins and needles. Ah! And also, I noticed that when she said, boo, Mommy, or whatever, the sound went from ear to ear.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if that was a conscious choice because that was a little bit more unsettling.
Yeah, because I will say, like, home theaters, you don't hear as much of a sound disparity, like, moving from speaker to speaker.
Yeah.
But in the theater, you did.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
And certainly with headphones, I just did. I don't know if I remember hearing that when I was watching it on my TV.
It adds an element of creep.
A little bit of element of creep. All right, so she's having her legs...
It's not funny anymore. I'm trying to sleep. Please stop grabbing my feet.
Why I sleep with my foot under the blankets no matter what.
So I wonder how they did that. They just had something tied to her leg?
Or, yeah, I wonder if there was, like, something either tied to her leg or some kind of rig actually under the bed. Like so around her ankle that just kind of dragged her body forward. Because I'd be worried about, like, too hard of a pull and you dislocate her leg.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I think this is when the movie starts to get really spooky.
I thought that, yeah, I agree. I think that the spook factor of this movie was mainly in the middle. The end, I didn't really find that creepy. I just think once the tempo starts rising and spooky things are happening all over the place, I get a little desensitized to it. You know? But in the middle of the movie, it was kind of parceled out.
Wrong place.
Yeah. So right now we're looking under the bed. Then it flips around. It's looking upside down under the bed. And then it's about to spin. And that was a really cool move because, I don't know, this was 2013. They may have been using a digital camera for this. But they're still pretty big. And to like very smoothly spin around a camera. Now there might be a rig to help do that.
I would imagine there was a rig, but
to help them do that easily. But still, it's a cool shot.
So something that I also noticed now with headphones that I didn't notice when watching the movie before, there is a very subtle increasing heartbeat that you can hear.
Oh, that's interesting. See, I was thinking there's a musical theme that plays in certain parts of the movie, and I can't really do it with my mouth, but it's just
no beatboxing for you.
Well, it's kind of like
oh yeah,
like and I was thinking,
it's almost like an electric noise.
Yeah, and I think that it's very bassy. It's kind of a bass hum, and so you're not really supposed to pay attention to it, but I bet it's supposed to subconsciously be your heartbeat.
Yeah,
and it goes very fast when there's something weird happening. And I bet they're trying to kind of psychologically amp you up just by that musical theme.
Oh yeah, there's been a couple movies now where they specifically set a tempo or set a music even to ride under the main music that is triggering more of an anxiety reaction.
Well, in Dark Knight, that's the most famous one that I know of. The composer has 2 notes on a cello, I think it was, and that was the main Joker theme. It was the kind of noise that you hear at the very beginning at the bank heist. And it's just 2 notes, I believe, on a cello. And they're supposed to be slightly discordant from each other. And they kind of, one will rise and the other one will rise later and the other one will fall. And it's supposed to just give you anxiety, that note, because it always feels like it's going up, but it never actually reaches a different pitch.
Oh, interesting.
So it kind of makes you tense while you're listening to it. And I thought that was brilliant. And it really does. I mean, it's very effective, I thought.
Yeah, it's. I think that the composer here and the one that they same composer that they had in Insidious just did a fantastic job of those unsettling tunes that just make you like, I know I'm about to be scared. Like it just sets you off.
Yeah.
Oh, a very short squeaky door.
So Mom is looking around the house for some sort of clappy clap. I think is she looking for a clap or just for?
She heard running, and so she was investigating to see which of her daughters was open and playing.
Okay, so that's the context. Anyway, the nuclear explosion that we just heard.
Oh, yeah, that we both jumped?
No, I jumped because I'm laughing.
Oh, okay.
I had to rewind it like 3 times just to listen to that sound, because it's supposed to be pictures falling off of the wall. Mm-hmm. That sounded like a dump truck driving through a plate glass window.
So you have trouble with the sound editing.
That it seems like a very obvious manipulation of the sound to make it scarier. And like I guess that's valid, but it seemed like a really unrealistic insertion. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It didn't. It's very wild.
Because natural insertion is the new name of your band.
A natural insertion. I think that we'd get canceled pretty quickly. Anyway, but you're gonna hear some more pictures falling that sound very much less dramatic than that.
I would be so mad. Do you know how long it took me to set those up?
Have to get them framed again. Anyway, so why didn't it wake up the daughters?
Maybe they're drugged. You're giving me a face like, come on.
Come on, son. Come on, son.
They could be heavy sleepers. Maybe,
a nuclear explosion just went off in their house.
Maybe they heard the noise that, it jostled them awake and then they didn't hear anything further. Or
But all the pictures continued to fall.
I'm so scared. I'm going to cover myself with blankets and not emerge from the bed and pretend to be asleep. We've seen that strategy used.
Later in this scene, a gentle bumping of the wardrobe door wakes one of them up.
By the pricking of his thumb?
No. This is a rooster. Gobble, gobble.
Why are we roostering?
I don't know. But the point is, a gentle wardrobe knocking wakes one of the sisters up. But a nuclear explosion...
Proximity?
This is an old wooden house. Noise is echoing everywhere.
I don't know what you want me to tell you.
I want you to just say this movie Oh.
It had holes. Have you ever seen a kid sleep, though? They're pretty hard sleepers. Not when you want them to be. Like
Exactly.
Christmas Eve.
Exactly. Damn kids. Neither of us have kids. Also, if you look at some of these walls, I had a bunch of notes on this little scene, but if you look at the walls, how long have they lived here at this point, do you think?
Probably not even a full month.
Okay, but, a few weeks.
Yeah.
They need to clean the walls.
I'm sure they'll get there eventually.
The entire house is filthy.
It's a new kind of farm rural estate, and they just got there, and there's a lot to do to get it ready, but they're not there yet.
I think they need to get some of these kids to work.
The kids go to school. We see them get put on a school bus.
Especially on the weekends. Put these kids to work. Get them scrubbing these walls.
Okay, well, I'm gonna let you try that technique on kids in the future and see how it goes for you.
I'll just walk by any old kid. Excuse me, you need to scrub your walls.
Hey, you little orphan Annie, come clean my walls.
You there, child boy. You need to scrub your walls.
My name is Sue.
Scrub them. Okay, so let me see. Do I have anything else?
Any other thing I'm annoyed about?
Oh, okay. So while she's walking here,
okay. Barefoot. No,
look at these. Look at these walls. Slippers. Look at them.
Okay, they just moved in. They haven't had a chance to give it a thorough refresh.
I'm repelled. And she's just making her way down the stairs.
Walking on broken glass. Please edit that out.
No. That was great. All right, now she's not making any footsteps. She hears the clapping again.
Who is that?
Now, that was the first time. Now, she's had a few different encounters with spooky things, but this is the first time she's called out.
The first time she thought it was her daughter. They thought they were playing, and then she couldn't figure out how she got so confused to thinking her daughter was in the wardrobe. And now, maybe something shook the house that caused the pictures to fall. One of those known Rhode Island, Connecticut earthquakes.
Exactly, happen all the time.
The first time Maryland had an earthquake that I can recall, it took me far too long to process what was happening. I thought that some heavy-set people were skipping down the hall, above the floor above where my office was.
Oh, you were at the office.
Yeah, because okay. I was like, why are they skipping?
Wait. Were you at the midwifery place already?
Yeah, I was with the midwives.
Oh, so... Okay, then there was one before that.
There was one where I was still living at my parents' house that happened, and I was taking a nap because I was working the night shift at BNN, so I was sleeping in a little bit, and I had a hip scarf that was on top of one of my wardrobes, and that started shaking, and I thought, in my head I was rationalizing, I was like, oh, it's the garage, and then I felt Then
you realized it was a ghost?
Well... Honestly, because I was half asleep, half awake, it did not occur to me that it could be an exorcism thing.
That's a shame. That's such a shame. Because what caused the earthquake, though? It was a ghost.
Oh, I thought it was, the earth.
Tectonic plates? No. Yeah. Ghost.
I was doing the hand gesture for tectonic plates moving, so Zach just didn't...
This is the international sign language for...
Rubbing your
tectonic plates.
No thumbs, just the four fingers just kind of rubbing against each other to show one overcoming the other.
That's universal for tectonic plates.
Yeah, no, that's how I learned about them.
I don't know where you went to school. But.
Bloody loam.
Anyway, so she's walking around the house right now, not making any footsteps, which I just thought was odd in a house that's old and wood. Mm-hmm. She's walking with a pace as well. She's hop, skip, and jumping down this hall. Anyway, I just thought that was odd because that's another horror movie trope. When they want you to be scared, they turn everything down. Oh.
See, I just didn't find it as delicious as the first creaking door.
It wasn't as long.
Oh, we're coming up to my next timestamp.
Okay. So this also, she's now had the door open. She's confirmed that both of her daughters are upstairs. Her husband is not.
Not both. There's 4 daughters.
Both of the ones she cares about.
Okay.
Just kidding. All 4 daughters.
You're not wrong, though, because at the end, she only brought 2 of them with her back to the house.
Yeah, you see?
Bad parenting, this is.
So this bad parent right here is, she's checked on her daughters. She knows it can't be them. Mm-hmm. She knows her husband is away. Husband! Mm-hmm. Futurama, LaBarbara. Mm-hmm. And she knows that someone else or something else has opened the door to the basement. Mm-hmm. She's about to shout down into the basement.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Which I guess that kind of makes sense. Close and lock the door before doing that.
She's letting him know that's her intention.
Do it. Just do it.
I'm doing the thing.
I'm going to prepare to defend myself against you, but I haven't done it yet.
Opportunity. Maybe she's hoping for them to call back or something so she knows what she's dealing with.
I suppose. But like she like leans in.
I would never do anything but sprint up those stairs. Like those are the kinds of stairs that I would just. I already have trouble walking up.
Down there, I'm gonna lock you in now.
You should have done that way before now. Go on.
Sorry, this is an interesting freeze frame because I've never seen the door kind of close on her face like it does.
Oh.
Yeah. But well, like I've seen it in fast motion, but not pause like where it's about to just.
Kachlank.
Yeah, but
stairs.
Yeah, basement stairs. I only have one speed to get up basement stairs, and it is hauling ass. I don't know what it is about basement stairs. Like, even my parents' house, who have a very nice house, like, they have finished basement stairs. My current basement stairs, I do not like walking up basement stairs.
So you've got, like, a man cave down there. Does it really spook you out to be down there?
It's not spooking out to be down there. I mean, that's where my home office is right now, but it's going up the stairs. I feel like I can only sprint up them.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
How does it feel, especially your downstairs, your basement area?
Mm-hmm.
Does it really feel like a basement to you? Because it doesn't feel like a basement to me. It just seems like another room in the house.
When I'm on the unfinished side doing laundry, it feels like a basement.
Oh, that's fair enough. I haven't been over there doing laundry.
But my parents' basement, even though it's finished and well kept and everything, that feels like a basement. It feels very
kinda.
cavey.
Yeah, I can see that.
Oh gosh, I'll never forget. One time I was down there watching a horror movie, and this cardinal had it out for me, and she just kept pecking the window. And like I'd be into the movie, then I'd be tap, 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 tap. And I'm like, she just kind of kept looking in and just peck, peck, peck.
She did it 3 times to mock the Trinity?
Yeah, exactly. Originally I thought it was my dad, but no, it's just some bird.
He would never mock the Trinity.
He might. I don't think he cares enough to.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I figured he would be your standard kind of Christian man.
No,
Episcopalian.
I would say that my dad is presents more of an agnostic kind of feel to him. We've never actually had a theological conversation, my dad and I, but my mom more of a Christian. My mom says her prayers and stuff.
Yeah. Does she say prayer at dinner?
No. Sorry.
What's so funny?
The most uncomfortable, awkward thing. So when they were first meeting Mark the first time, we were having lunch over at their house. My mom is setting the table with the food. I'm helping her, and she looks at Mark and she's just like, in this house, we believe in God. And if you feel like you need to do anything before we eat, you just do it. And she meant prayer. But my dad and I, we just looked at each other confused because we have never said a prayer except before holiday food, like before Thanksgiving or Christmas, when we have our more devout family members who are Catholics and Christians with us. We never just say prayers before mealtime. So this was new. So my dad and I just looked at each other, and my dad and I both mouthed at the same time, "The fuck?" It was a very bonding experience for my dad.
It's definitely an interesting phrasing.
Yeah, it's just, and Mark's like, he didn't understand what she meant. I was like, he doesn't pray, but
thanks.
Yeah.
You know, again, about prayers and the efficacy of prayers. Mm-hmm. When you bless your food, how long does the blessing last? And can you refrigerate it?
So funny story. In Gilmore Girls, there's a hyper Christian exchange student from Korea that comes in, and she said a prayer before she started drinking a soda, and then someone brings her a plate of French fries, and she starts praying again. She's like, "You already said a prayer." She's like, "Yes, I was praying for the soda. Now I'm praying for the French fries." And she's like, one prayer, you're good.
It affects the whole area.
Yeah. She's like, if you don't just eat them, they're going to get cold, and, God already heard your prayers for the soda. Just assume it covers both.
It's a blanket blessing.
Yeah. The soda and the fries, part of the same meal, you're covered.
So it blesses the idea of this meal in whatever that ends up meaning, including the dessert and stuff like that.
I would say so.
That's interesting. So I was figuring it was maybe like, for any nerds out there, an area of effect spell.
Oh, okay. Like a cone.
Yeah, like a cone or like a blizzard. So I feel like your blessing would be like that. So if the dessert is still like in the freezer or something like that, maybe your spell hasn't reached out that far.
Oh, but
Maybe it's everything on the table.
Ooh, interesting. So that would require dessert to have its own blessing.
Exactly. You got to think about these things.
But then taking out the dessert and blessing it would also require an act of contrition or forgiveness because you are going into a glutton activity, which is a sin.
Sure, you got to double pray.
Oh.
So when she was following the noise down into the basement, why didn't she grab a weapon beforehand?
She was rushing?
It seems to me she could have picked up something. Like she's going down there to find at best an intruder, at worst a demon. Grab a weapon.
I don't know that she leapt the demon train yet.
Fine, but it's at the best case scenario, it's an intruder.
Yeah.
Grab a weapon.
Yep.
Awaken the other members of the household to make a ruckus.
Could you describe the ruckus?
Wu-Tang Clan.
Oh, well, I was doing Breakfast Club.
Oh.
Could you describe the ruckus, sir?
Damn it, I don't remember that line. I need to rewatch it.
There was a ruckus.
There was a firefight.
So, ouchies. She goes tumbling down the steps.
So there seems to be an unequal application of violence by the ghost
to women
thing to everybody. Like it killed the dog outright, and then it just gives her the occasional
snitches get stitches.
It gives her the occasional bruise. It just freaks out the daughter, and then it pushed her down the stairs. Like, why don't just kill everybody?
Well, it's the normal pattern is she's trying to aggress the woman to take the life of a child. I don't know why that's her thing, why that's how she gets her jollies, but it is.
Okay, so she wants the woman to kill the child, but she's not psychologically bending her to that will. She's not making her do that under her own volition by changing how she thinks about things or like torturing her so that it changes her psychology. She, at some point, just takes over her.
So
why doesn't she just do that now?
She has to fatigue and oppress her. They talk a little bit about it when we first meet the Warrens. They're at a lecture and they're talking about the different stages of demonic oppression.
Yeah.
And part of it is getting you to that mentally fatigued, weak state so they can take over. Someone in their full faculties can't be taken over just willy-nilly. They have to be terrorized and oppressed enough.
You know, I think maybe it's in that same lecture they say that the demon or whatever latches on to the most psychologically weak person.
Yeah.
So why is that the mother? I don't think there's been any evidence to suggest that she's psychologically weak. Why not one of the daughters?
Maybe in this case it's because she has the most to lose.
But that doesn't make her psychologically weak. Unless the movie gave us evidence to think she was, and I don't think it did.
Yeah, I mean, we know that the family is going through some financial hardships. We know that there's a lot of mouths to feed.
I would think that would be more on the dad. The dad seems like he's stressing out about his job and stuff like that.
But he's away from the house more than the mom. He has escapes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know if it's we don't know enough about the mom to know why she's considered the weak entity to latch onto, except that in this case, Bathsheba has the MO of typically trying to attack the mothers.
Are we just in the basement? She's looking around.
You know, everything in that basement's creepy.
I will say it was interesting framing right here.
Mm-hmm. Because your eyes want to make forms out of the sheets.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that, at least I would presume, that they did this on purpose. This sheet that's tucked over this, whatever it is.
It was a really sheety thing for them to do.
It's in some of the frames.
Don't laugh at that.
It was a courtesy laugh. It was a pity laugh. Oh, don't do that. You didn't earn it. There you go. That's better. Anyway, it really looked like a woman's like dress or something like that. And my eye was always drawn to it.
See, mine was actually drawn to this one right here because it looks like a body or shape.
That was the second thing my eyes went to.
Yeah. So this basement's just bad news bears.
Right, a ball just came out and scared her. Light burst. Certainly stressful music.
Interesting.
What?
So with the headphones on, this is a new experience, and I heard like, I don't know.
Oh, I don't know if I heard what you heard. Do you want to go back?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh. Interesting. I wonder if that's a musical instrument, like that's part of the music, or if that's supposed to be a sound effect from the demon.
Yeah, because I never heard that before, and I've seen this movie a lot.
So for the listeners listening, I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it in the same fidelity that we are, but there's some noise underpinning the music right there that's going like, oh. It's really strange.
It's kind of weird, kind of guttural noise to
Yeah.
it. Because now I'm really curious about how this is going to sound.
I'm sorry. All right, she's made her way to the top of the stairs. Leave.
The door was locked.
Smash it. I've put this as
I
a timestamp for several places in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a person that's kicked in a door before.
Mm-hmm.
It actually isn't hard at all. Because the latch is on the frame, the little thing that juts out, and that thing breaks easily, very easily. Just kick it.
Well, I think she tried the door before. She's frightened, and she's just trying to see, because in her eyes, this is still something she can see.
Yeah.
So she's at the top of the stairs. She's lit a match. She's freaked out, and she's burning her fingers.
I thought this was a good scene, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like her burning her finger and then having to light another one's very stressful.
Hey, wanna play hide and clap?
It's so good. It's so good. I just like jumped out of my chair. Now, I will say that I was kind of hoping that listening with headphones on, it would have been a new experience.
Yeah.
Now, the clap was isolated to one ear, but there wasn't something beyond that. But it's still, I love that scene. Like, it's so simple, but damn, it's good.
Yeah, the clap is interesting. So now, the clap is coming from Rory, and Rory's motivation is...
So, I think he's just one of the many spirits that are in the house. He's young, he's playful. He may not be aware that what he's doing is causing detriment, or he's a malicious fuck. I don't know.
I would lean more toward a malicious fuck, because how could you do these things to a person? You can see her reaction. But how would you think that's playful?
So something that's an interesting theory about ghosts and spirits and things that I've read and heard is that they're not fully aware, and they're often looping. So they're looping at different times of their life and existence. So in this case, he may be slightly aware, but he's still kind of looping through cycles. And so I think it's pretty obvious she's terrified, but maybe in the way that he is able to observe things from whatever realm he is on, it maybe doesn't translate fully. But that's also giving him a lot of credit. And again, I don't know what they were going for.
Yeah, see, in situations like this, that seems like it could be an explanation for some things, but for this one, he's moving along with her. Mm-hmm. So if he were looping to like a memory or something like that, it wouldn't be as specific as what this situation seemed to be. He's following her, he's throwing a ball.
But maybe he's not fully aware of certain, like in the others, they weren't always fully aware of the living or ghost forms in that. So, like they would pop in from time to time, or they would have certain visualizations, but they don't get the full story. So maybe he's not getting the full story, and he does think they're playing.
I think people have more forgiveness for things like this.
Because it's unknown.
In horror movies than for...
slashers?
Well, no, for slashers, I don't think there needs to be forgiveness. It's zany and whatever. It's not supposed to be serious, but this is supposed to be a serious movie. Mm-hmm. And I think people have more forgiveness for things that don't seem to make sense because it's supernatural and whatever. You don't think too hard about it. Rather than a fantasy movie or any kind of sci-fi fantasy, the rules should be consistent. Mm-hmm. So you make up the rules. I'm not saying it has to be reality, but you make up the rules for your universe, and they should be consistent. And it seems like... yeah, you could kind of say, oh, maybe he's looping, but it doesn't really seem like it. It seems he's specific about it. It really seems more that they're trying to create a scary movie, and this was a convenient... There was just this extra ghost in there that we can use to scare people with.
And a convenient game and gimmick.
So, I mean, it's spooky, but mm-hmm. I don't know how much sense it makes.
Yeah.
And so
maybe it doesn't need to.
That seems like a cop-out, though, to me.
I felt so bad for the dad coming home and everyone's just screaming and freaking out. He's like, can someone just tell me?
In. Well, it was like near the end where Mr. Warren was going up to Mrs. Warren. She was on the phone with her mom. She was like crying about their daughter. And he's like, what's going on? And she's like, I'll tell you later. What's and then he's like, tell me what's going on. And she's like, I don't want to. Mom, what's going on over there? And he's like, just tell me. What's happening to my daughter? And she's like, I don't want to tell you. What was going on there?
Nay. Well, we'll talk in a minute.
I'll fill you in on the tragic thing that may have happened to your daughter in a bit.
It's not confirmed.
You know, with all that's been going on, why haven't you just moved out?
Well, I don't know where we moved to. You know, we got all the money tied up in this place.
Family.
And had a lot of repairs on top of that. And I don't know anybody who's going to take in a family of 7 indefinitely.
Family. So he also says, we don't have any money. How are you going to pay the Warrens? Are their services free?
They've never said that it would cost them to come out.
How do they make their money? I guess they tour around for all the fantastical things that they've done.
Write books, sell admission to their museum of non-touchable items.
Yeah.
Actually, that's all museums. You're not supposed to.
What are you talking about? I go to the Natural Houston Museum. I touch everything.
I was
ride the dinosaurs.
Baltimore Museum of Art, and they yelled at you not to touch.
What? I don't remember that.
Oh yeah, it was you, Katie, and I were there, and I remember we got close to one of the paintings, and they freaked out before we even got closer. Like, there was no like line markers on the ground or anything to say don't get.
Oh, they just preemptively got angry at us?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even remember that.
You kids.
It happens to me all the time. Every
Get
museum.
off my Degas.
My Degas.
I've been seeing the dark entity that haunts your house and your land.
That's the fig tree.
Very good
I thought
fig tree.
first, when I came through your door, it was latched to your back.
So we're just getting the explanation.
The girls, when we walked into the living room. And it doesn't matter where you go, this dark entity has latched itself to your family, and it's feeding off you. Even if we leave?
Sometimes when you get haunted, it's like stepping on gum. You take it with you.
All right, I wanted to stop it there. It's like stepping on gum. Was her explanation not good enough? He had to come in and simplify things? Like all her fancy words, it's like stepping on gum.
Well, I mean, it's a good analogy.
I guess it seemed condescending to me. He seemed like a smarmy prick at that moment.
Maybe that's just the Wilson way of acting.
Maybe so.
I thought that was a good analogy. I never actually considered it to be condescending.
Well, she just gave like a comprehensive.
Will follow you. Yeah.
She gave a comprehensive analysis and said that no matter where you go, it's going to follow you. And he's like, don't listen to her. It's like gum. You step on gum, it goes with you, much like the demon realm. Listen to my man words. Don't listen to her female words. They don't make any sense.
I like how when you go into this kind of like Brooklyn mansplain thing, you only talk out of one side of your mouth.
That's how they do it.
Listen here, see? No, but that was your full mouth.
You have a lot of spirits in here, but this is the one that I'm most worried about because it is so hateful.
Okay, so what do we do? Can we call a priest?
I wish it were that easy. Performing an exorcism is an archaic procedure. Requires years of training and...
So we're going to call a priest.
They're just letting him know it's not going to happen tomorrow. They're setting a timeline expectation.
I guess. It just seemed odd to me. He seems so condescending. I really don't like his character.
Yeah.
It's like, the dad says something pretty sensible, like, should we call a priest? He's like, no, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. It's not as easy as getting a priest. We are going to have to call a priest, however.
I like your mobster kind of...
Yeah, anyway, that's all I had.
Have your children been baptized?
No, we never got around to that. We're not really a church-going family.
Well, you may want to rethink that.
Condescending prick.
Is that your whole takeaway from this?
So that's literally all I had for this moment.
People who took her land. I'm sitting here with Karen, her parent, and with her family that has been experiencing supernatural occurrences. Go ahead. From the first occurrence.
So I'm really glad that I timestamped that in that moment, just because listening to it with the headphones, completely different experience yet again.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. But no, I just thought it was interesting how they layered kind of the clear audio quality to the not clear audio quality that it was, like when he's like, we're recording with the parent family, and then I like that he's like a
you can't shoot ghosts, right?
likable Farva.
Which
The
one?
cop.
Oh, yeah.
Drew, this is Officer Brad.
So-
Brad Hamilton, Harrisville, Rhode Island, PD.
Don't call me
Nice to meet
radio.
you, man. So, you're the lucky new cop, huh?
Guess so.
You can't shoot ghosts, right?
Take it easy on him, Drew.
So the cop character and Drew, who I guess is their assistant, I thought their characters brought me out of the immersion of the movie. Everybody else's characters feel very grounded and real, and both of them seem like comic relief or something.
You know what's interesting? James Wan had similar kind of characters like that kind of playful banter characters in Insidious.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like you also get characters like that in Saw. Mm-hmm. It feels like
they give your brain a chance to relax.
Yeah, I guess, and I think that's not a bad practice. But this particular instance of it brought me out of the reality of the movie.
Off. So I set these throughout the house, see if I can stir things up a bit.
Like holding a cross to a vampire?
Yeah, exactly. Except I don't believe in vampires.
So I just find it funny that they can pick and choose what myths that they choose to follow. And I realize now that I would really like to see Ed Warden suddenly believing in vampires, like having like an encounter with either a psychic or blood drinking vampire.
Yeah. Although I think this one I'll let him off the hook for, at least in my view, because I mean, demons do exist in this world and he's seen them and he's going to see them again. I guess he hasn't seen a vampire and there's no convincing evidence in this world that they exist.
So in this scene, I just really love how simple this interaction is, but so effective.
What she made me do.
Hey.
Ed?
Look what she made me do!
So creepy. Although that's like classic haunted house, like
Dude, you okay?
going to haunted house.
Yeah, it really is, yeah.
I saw someone. There was a woman dressed as a maid.
Yeah, we pay her.
Ed, we're getting something.
I hope you didn't freak her out or something. It's hard to find good help around here.
No, wait, we need this.
Why don't we need pictures of Cindy?
She didn't trigger it.
What do you mean she didn't trigger it?
Somebody's with her. Who?
A ghost, you dummy. All right, so this was my other, that was my timestamp. Them trying to get through the door. Two grown men are failing to break down a door right now.
So we don't know that there's not a spirit like on the other side of the door, like holding it closed.
I guess that's true.
Rory's mom looks like she has some power in her.
As a, I think I was 13, I kicked in a door.
Why?
We were locked out. That was the best idea I had.
You were able to kick in like a front door?
Yeah.
Did it not have a deadbolt?
I think it did.
Wow.
But I mean, like I said, the frame of the door is super weak. It
makes me feel nice and secure at night.
It just splinters if you kick it.
Interesting.
So I've labeled this one Free Fallen.
Yeah, I always felt like she really would have hurt herself more.
Well, I've got math on my side on this one.
Oh, someone falling 3 stories?
More than that. That was a 6-second fall. There is actually a website dedicated to calculating free fall.
Okay.
So she fell for 6 seconds, and the calculated distance she would have fallen is 579 feet, or 193 yards. That's almost 2 football fields.
Well, then they must have slowed up because she's only falling. I shouldn't say only. She's falling 3 stories of a house.
Yeah. So, I mean, in universe, that's what she would have fallen. But the duration that they milked that fall for, she would have fallen so much further. She would have died, and that would be a very deep basement. But as it is, she was fine.
So my next actually happens here in the basement. So this is, I thought, evidence or showcasing the looping ghost theory with the mom of Rory. So this is a ghost that's having to relive this realization repeatedly. Now, she can change and start interacting, but in this exact moment, she was looping.
So do you think that she was looping or that she was just still living with the grief?
She made me do it.
Yes.
Because either you're looping or you're not. But if she's, I think it's just a drawn out existence of living in that
horrible moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because it seems like she's able to see her and detect the Warren lady.
Mm-hmm. Again, great noose sounds.
I wonder what they do to get those sounds, because it's not like they actually have a rope and have something make it so tight to make that noise.
Well, sound editors may have something special that they use.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I'm wondering what that is. It's a Foley artist that would do that. And we got the hanger spinning around to face Lady Warren. And what's he doing?
He doesn't know where she is.
There's stairs down to the basement. Try that.
Well, he doesn't know that she fell all the way down to the basement.
Check.
So she could be somewhere trapped in the walls.
Before he does an impression of like the old movies or commercials that have a Native American putting their hand to the ground and then crying. Like, why is he feeling the walls?
Well, he's trying to see if he can, he doesn't know what her state is or where she is, so she could just be knocked out somewhere in between the walls there.
Suppose so, but she is yelling downstairs.
Yeah, but we don't hear that.
Dummy.
Yeah, well, you weren't kidding.
No.
Look, Ed, this is complicated because the kids aren't baptized.
No, I understand.
And the family, they're not members of the church.
Oh, come on.
So fuck them.
The approval would have to come directly from the Vatican.
Why?
Father, we never seen...
I think the Vatican has to ordain all exorcisms.
Well, I think he's saying that because they're not part of the church. It has to get verification.
Well, that too, that definitely resonates. But my understanding is for a exorcism of this kind of nature, it would require being sancted, being allowed.
So,
but they didn't have cell phones back then, so you can't text the Pope.
But he said this complicates things, so we're going to have to talk to the Vatican.
Well, yeah, no,
because if we have to talk to the Vatican for all of them, then it's no more complicated. They're either going to say yes or no, but it's the same process.
Well, I think it's also it is less likely to get a yes from the Vatican if they are not baptized. Now, they don't establish in the movie that the Vatican has to authorize that. I thought I remembered that from my research, so I could be wrong. But I remember looking up different exorcisms and things like that in the past, and I was under the impression, and because it is such a, it's not fully trained with every priest, it is something that has to get permitted or allowed, and usually there's rules following that allowance. It's kind of like a gag order. And I could be wrong. That I just remember that from research I did.
Yeah, I'd like to look that up. I don't know. That's possibly true, but
in this movie, yes, they're implying that.
But he also seemed personally like he was like I wish I could help him, but fucking heathens over there. No, and it also seems to me like if someone's in danger, like these are the supernatural firefighters, and if someone's house is on supernatural fire, help them. Who cares what?
They're a liability.
I'm
not arguing with
who cares
you.
what the higher ups say? Like, in this case, it'd be like, All right, so the president of all firefighters is saying that if they don't have a firefighting bumper sticker on their car, we can't help them. I'm going to do it anyway because I'm a good person, right? But they're supposed to represent that aura of goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Help these people. We've got a bona fide demon, running rampant in America.
Mm-hmm.
Fix it.
Mm-hmm. You've been training for one fight all your life.
Exactly. When you can actually do something to help people, you're not going to do it? I just mean, come on.
But I just made myself a sandwich.
Eat it. On the way. We'll drive you.
Let's finish this together.
So my tag for this was how much I like the cop. This is where I really said his farviness, like attacking the ghost with a gun.
Well, you and I had a very different read of this. So there's just been a very high-profile case of a cop firing a gun into a building and killing an innocent woman.
Oh, yeah.
And
Breonna Taylor.
This guy doesn't know
What's on the other side of the door?
Yeah, where the daughters are, where the mother is. He's just firing a shotgun at the front door.
Well, he's firing it at the handle, and he's doing it at kind of a lowered range, so I think he's specifically trying to hit the doorknob.
Well, even if he is, he doesn't know where they are. Maybe they're on the other side of the door.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that it wasn't a good judgment call. But I love the music that follows just the opening of the door.
I do agree with that. The music is great.
Can you imagine being part of the orchestra that was recording the scary noises? The possessed mom is holding on to the daughters and is raising scissors as if to stab her.
We gotta get her to the car! Bring her where? To take her to the priest for the exorcism! Wait, where's April?
I thought we didn't need a priest.
April! Get Christy to the car and find April! April! Come on!
I wouldn't want to ride with her.
I wouldn't either. So, apparently, the demon gives her a healing factor.
She won't let her leave the house.
Because when they take her back in, those marks go away.
Yeah.
What did she say?
Roger. She's calling for her husband.
Roger. Or maybe she was feeling frisky.
I doubt it, but maybe. My next timestamp is 1:37:28, and my caption is, I uncommand you to reveal yourself. A couple seconds further back, sorry. Just...
So when she spits the blood into the sheet, that was the first moment in the movie that creeped me out. Not because it's demonic or anything. I'm just like, for the actress underneath, like, that's disgusting.
Brush your teeth.
No, I mean, like, it would just, like, the wetness being pressed up against the face would just be so
like
nasty.
Waterboarding.
Just gross.
Yeah.
God damn it, stop it!
Understand this? We are now fighting for her soul.
In the name of Jesus Christ, the saints and all the angels, I command you to reveal yourself!
Yeah, Philip, I take it back. I take it back. It's very much what his face is doing.
That's a good point. He was like, oh, God, I didn't mean that much.
Can we get a better looking demon?
Send out a better looking demon. That's what I want to see. Yeah. So she was tied down, right?
She was tied down. They did the famous turn you upside down hovering thing and then dropped her, and the chair shattered.
Oh, okay. So now they've just got her in a loose chair.
Well, so they had,
she's sitting right here.
Oh, it may not have broken yet.
She's already gone. And now you're all gonna die.
She's a wizard, Harry.
April! I found her!
Come, she will!
Oh, okay. So, yeah, that chair must have already been broken at that point, but I don't know what they were restraining her with.
Nothing, as it turns out.
Yeah.
Because she just
Scurried
stood up and walked away.
Time out. I need to go take care of this April chick.
Yeah. Like, why did nobody have their hands on her or anything like that?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And also, why would you shout where the kid is stuck? Seems kind of bad idea.
Yeah. Hey, the target, the target that the person's trying to get to, it's over here. Directly, here are the coordinates. Come kill her now.
Yep, she's not moving.
I'm going to leave the music on just because it's spooky.
Spooky.
So let's move into Act 4, Rose-Tinted Fields. So Allyson, was it as good as you remember?
Oh yeah, just as spooky.
All right. Did your perspective change on anything over the last couple of years that it's been out?
I mean, not really. If anything, my feelings for it have deepened. I've just grown more enamored of this universe. You know, I've seen all of the Conjuring films, either in theaters or on video. I've seen all the Annabelle films, even though dolls freak me the hell out.
I know, that's so surprising that you watch those.
It's because of the elements around it. Like, I just find the universe really intriguing. And I saw La Llorona not realizing it was part of this universe. The Nun was not very good. I also don't like Thaisa Farmiga as much as I like Vera Farmiga. The Nun just wasn't as good to me as the others. It wasn't horrible, but it just wasn't as good as the others.
Well, I think Conjuring 2 was scarier to me than this one was. I liked it. I liked Conjuring 2. Mm-hmm. And I think the nun made an appearance in that movie.
Yeah, I think that's where we first see it because Vera Farmiga's character, Ed Warren paints the nun.
Does she ever? Doesn't she come out of the painting or something?
Yeah, she kind of has a couple spooky appearances during that. But.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get right down to brass tacks.
Mm-hmm.
Did it contribute anything to cinema?
I think it did.
You got to be careful here. It was 2013.
Well,
come on.
So I think it was a great departure from a lot of the slasher films, and it brought back or harkened back to a lot of the supernatural giants that came before it from like true classics, and it gave us kind of permission to have more simple ghost telling stories again, because there was a lot of things that followed this that really rode its curtails, for good, for bad, for other. But so I think this whole universe has been an enjoyable ride. So, I mean, clearly people are purchasing into this world and this. So I thought that it did creative things, cinematographically speaking, like the camera swirling. There was a scene where Vera Farmiga is like walking in and out of the building, and the camera kind of follows up in a creative way. So I think it did some unique things, and I think it's giving a new type of horror genre, like because of the elements it was using. I think people are trying to harken back to old tricks.
Well, I think the fact that they're hearkening back and we're doing scary, spooky, like ghost movies again means that they've been done before, which I'm not saying this isn't a great movie, but it certainly doesn't seem to have broken any new ground since people have been making these movies for decades.
I think they're using modern equipment, modern technology to improve upon old proven things, I guess is what I'm trying to, like they're modifying old techniques with new technology to make it better.
No doubt. But do you think that they brought techniques that haven't been used in other movies to bear?
I think that they, maybe not in this one, in some of the other ones, they've added new like I have never seen like the stair scene, the hide and clap scene. I've never seen where they had just hands appearing out of the darkness like that for that kind of impactful clap. So I don't know. Maybe it's not new. Maybe it's just.
Yeah, I think you've got rose tinted spectacles on. Honestly, more for this movie than anything else.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I think this movie did what it did very well. Mm-hmm. I don't think it was unique. I don't think it was new. I don't think anything that happened in this movie hadn't been done in other movies. But everything that they did well, and that's to its credit. I mean, not every movie needs to break new ground.
Okay, that's fair.
So for me to answer that question, I don't think that it brought anything new to cinema, unless we're talking about what your argument for it bringing back a certain genre of movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's valid. I mean, if the ghost movie genre had kind of died out and this movie brings it back, I think there's a valid argument for saying that it's done something in cinematic history where something had died out and it rejuvenates it. I think that's valid.
Yeah, it's a revitalization.
Yeah. But for cinematography and directing, though I think it did a good job, I don't think it did anything that other people hadn't done.
Mm-hmm. And that's fair. My rosies are still on.
So do you think anything would be needed to change for a modern audience? Just bringing back that these unholy whatevers tend to latch themselves onto the most psychologically weak person. And not only do I think that's an interesting admission for people who believe in ghosts, mm-hmm. to say that it affects people who are psychologically weak. That I think there's an irony there that's not quite being addressed.
Yeah, it's kind of like you can only become hypnotized if you allow it.
Yeah, exactly. You're only going to see a ghost if you're already kind of primed to do that. But also, I think that it seems to be saying that the most psychologically weak person was the main woman, and I thought that was a little bit. There's no reason to think that she was. So why was that line in the movie that it was must be a psychologically weak person?
I think they were saying usually was or usually is. So in the case that they were showing where they had that description, it was someone who was sexually abused by their father and he was illiterate and, so that case, that happened to be someone who had psychological trauma. When they're talking about Bathsheba specifically, she has a particular type of person that she likes to go after, and that is a mother. So I don't think that those two are necessarily correlated.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I just don't know why they included the line in the movie that it goes after a psychologically weak person if it had nothing to do with this story.
Red herring?
Maybe, I guess. I don't know. That seems like they wanted us to think that. Why else would they have said it?
Yeah, and, maybe there was something that they cut out that would have explained her trauma or something.
Yeah, maybe so. I don't know. Then I think they should have cut out that line too. Anyway, that was the only thing I think maybe they should change.
That would actually also have later weight in the other films in the franchise. Not specifically two. I mean, the daughter did have some stuff going on, but in the second one, but in like The Nun or some of the Annabelle movies, they show that more that people with sad backgrounds kind of have more of a susceptibility.
So they treat it like America's Got Talent.
The person with the saddest story gets the most airtime.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that would be really messed up with demons. Now, I don't accuse demons of being honorable, but that just seems rude.
Dishonorable demons. Anyways, that's all I had. So let's mosey on over to the Rose Award ceremony. Thank you. Everyone, calm down. So, who would you give your Rose Award to?
So, in this case, I refuse to take off my rose-tinted glasses. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say to Lorraine Warren, I may be biased, but I love Vera Farmiga so much. And I thought she just did a great job of portraying Lorraine. If you watch interviews of the real Warrens, her embodiment is just spot on. So I really like her. And I would say a strong second place, Sadie the dog.
Aw, Sadie the dog.
Yeah. I'm just always going to give it to the dog. I gave it last time to the dog.
I don't know if I can give the Rose Award to the dog. I'll give my Love Award to the dog.
Yeah, she was a good old dog.
Little doggy. So, I don't know. I think maybe I'd give it to Lorraine Warren also.
She had so much to offer in the film. Like, I was more entranced by her performance than anybody else's.
Yeah. I think I would give it to her. Yeah. I think that she seemed to do most, and she had the answers for the most, and she had her abilities that helped her to track down the supernatural comings and goings. Mm-hmm. So I think she had the most positive impact on the plot. I was tempted to maybe give it to the dad because he believed what was going on. He tried to help. He played along with the paranormal investigators, which he didn't necessarily believe in.
He was just trying to make it through life.
Yeah, but he seemed to always have a positive influence on things. But I think that Lorraine probably was the most impactful person. So I'll give my rose to her. Who would you give your Thorn Award to? I'm
going to give it to the Scrappy-Doo of this movie, Judy Warren. She contributed nothing but getting in the way, and I'm going to get on a Zach level tangent of how much I didn't like the child actor. Like,
Okay.
just when the door was knocking, the backing away, screaming, like, just she just annoyed me a little bit. And she kind of reminded me of the girl that was turning to porcelain in the Are You Afraid of the Dark episode where the girl was turning into the doll.
It's my favorite.
Like, something about her pale with, like, rosy cheeked appearance. Like,
Maybe she is Annabelle.
Bum, bum.
Bum. Oh, whoop, nope. Nope. Shit. Yes.
No. I like your little magical transformation.
Maybe she is Annabelle. Ah, Annabelle.
Rope burn.
Rope burn.
I'm surprised we don't say that every time we hear like a noose taut noise.
Oh my goodness. Yes. We need to make a theme. Oh, don't I have, I made something else that I haven't played.
I don't know. I didn't look for any of those basic things because I'm horrible at my job.
Yeah, you brought that up at the last recording.
Yeah, I know. So I think we also need one for rope burn.
But I also didn't hear that during the
I
last
know you didn't have any headphones.
Yeah, anytime we have a guest, I have to go without hearing.
I know. I would do it. I would give someone my headphones, but it would have to stretch further.
Yeah, Solomon. Just gotta divide.
Gotta divide.
Anyway, so, Judy Warren, I don't think she contributed anything to the movie, except letting me see her adorable pet chicken, Winston.
Aw. What?
There's a scene where they're playing with the chickens, and she's like, Winston. And he's like, he had an interesting hairdo for a chicken. Speaking of toxic, who is your thorn?
My thorn award goes to the cop.
Farva.
God damn. He was, because he provided nothing to this movie except a shotgun firing into a house.
No.
And I can't get on board with that.
He also
piece of garbage.
Ran to get the UV light, which he called a UV light.
The assistant could have done that. That's
yeah. So I didn't have like as a visceral reaction to you did of the cop, but
firing into a building without looking.
I mean, I get what you're saying. I'm not saying you're wrong.
Disgusting.
I'm just saying that Judy was worse.
Garbage. Should be thrown away.
And now it's Judy's turn to cry.
Who did you give your hate award to? That's new. I just decided to give my hate award to what's the man, the Warren, Mr. Man, Mr. Warren,
Ed Warren.
Ed Warren. I give my hate award to him.
Oh, I didn't hate him.
Oh yeah, because he's just first of all storing all of his demonic artifacts in his house near his daughter.
No one said he's a good dad.
No, I'm saying he's a terrible father.
I never said I was a role model.
Anyway, so yeah, he did that. And he just all the time seemed like a smug prick, and I hate him. I just want him to go away forever. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
So that's what I have. So let's
Zach just signed out of AOL. So I didn't know we were doing hate awards, so I didn't. I did not.
Yeah, that was just I freestyled that one.
Gotcha. Yeah, so I mean, it would still go to. Hate is a strong word for Judy. Maybe Judy's grandmother, because she didn't really
try that hard.
She didn't do her job.
Nah, she was bad. All right, so what would you give this in the rating section? What would you give the scary factor?
8 out of 10.
All right.
Pretty consistently scary, even if you've seen it before.
See, I thought that the Conjuring Dos was the scarier of the two. I thought that was pretty darn scary. Maybe I'd need to go back and see it again. But as far as my memory is concerned, I saw it in theaters. And that's also probably a better atmosphere to see a scary movie.
And we saw it around this time of year on a rainy night, very late.
Maybe it was exactly this year. Day.
I don't think so.
3 years ago.
I didn't see any tags on Facebook, and that's how I remember everything I've done for the last 10 years.
That is kind of scary, though. That Facebook is the arbiter of what we remember now.
Yeah. They're the great social library.
Yeah, they are. So for scariness, I gave it a 5 out of 10.
Okay.
I thought it was pretty scary. It could have been scarier. The doll didn't do it for me.
And I'm assuming, demons that you don't necessarily believe in. And by necessarily, I mean you don't believe in.
Oh, I definitely don't believe in demons, but that doesn't mean a demon in a movie can't be scary. And I thought that there were certain moments, like the jump off the wardrobe moment, that were scary. There are a bunch of moments that were very tense So like when the lady of the house is walking around looking for clapping, thought that was pretty intense. Looking at the wardrobe, and then like when she was blindfolded, thought that was pretty creepy. Looking in the mirror part, I didn't think was that creepy.
I feel like I want to like hide in your house sometime and just like hide in the closet and then do the in the middle of the night. Now, I say that I would end up scaring myself more than scaring you.
You would scare yourself?
Yeah, just like the anticipation of doing it. Like, I'm going to get caught. I'm going to get caught. Like,
I'm going to come in with a shotgun and open the wardrobe door with a shotgun.
Oh, you're going to farva.
I'm going to farva all over you, which sounds weird.
It really does. So, directing.
Directing, I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Ah, me too. High fives.
Yep.
Run and clap. Writing?
Well, let me linger on directing, because I think this is this the highest directing award I've given?
I'd have to go back.
So would I. I'm
glad that we write them on these sheets, though, because while I enjoy our podcast, I don't know that I have the wherewithal to just sit and listen through all of them to get every piece.
Yeah. I have to do that.
No, I listen to them every time they release, but I'm just saying, like, I don't want to go back and listen again to piecemeal and pull out our ratings.
Yeah. No, I just mean that I have to listen to them because I flipping have to edit them.
Yeah. Screen, by the way, unedited was like 4.5 hours.
Oh my God. I still haven't edited that. I still haven't finished editing. I've been really bad. I've just had a lot going on. Yeah. Is it Waxworks that still
we haven't released Waxworks.
Oh my God.
Lost Boys.
I'm so far behind.
It's a good thing we made this bi-weekly.
Anyway, so directing I thought was very good. I don't know, maybe I need to go back and reassess because of what I possibly gave Jaws. Jaws is obviously very well directed.
Mr. Spielberg.
Yeah, it's hard to beat the Dr. Spielbs. But anyway, I thought it was very good. Like you were saying, that there are a lot of little cinematic shenanigans that go on in this movie that were very clever. I thought very well done, achieved all the different spook factors they were going for, but it also had the trivia that I read that he was trying to achieve the same tone as a 1960 movie, The Haunting. I haven't seen that movie. You're telling me it's now kind of zany and goofy, but I thought that the cinematography kind of harkened back to an older era where the shots lingered longer maybe, and a lot of tracking shots and things like that. I thought were very good. I really liked it. I thought that it was good that it didn't feel like a modern horror movie, and certainly it didn't feel like a paranormal malevolence.
You know what's interesting is you said that he was trying to go for a haunting feel. The lead actress, the mom in this, was the lead actress, Eleanor, in the remake with Catherine Zeta-Jones and Owen Wilson?
Luke Wilson?
The broke nose one.
Owen.
No. And
I like Luke better, though. He was in Idiocracy.
And oh gosh, I'm blanking on his name.
Ben Stiller.
No, that doesn't help. Sorry. He played Aslan. He Give Me Back My Family.
Liam Neeson.
Thank you. God bless.
Give Me Back My Family helped. I didn't know that he played Aslan, though.
Yeah, he's Jesus the Lion.
Nice.
So, yes. So it's interesting that she was the lead of the Haunting remake, and now this director was trying to give a haunting feel and use the same actress.
Yep, a lot of connections. Yep. So, writing-wise?
6.5.
6.5, eh? 6.5?
Mm-hmm.
I give it a 5. Which, I don't know, is probably too generous. I think I'm going to give it a 3.
You're giving the writing a higher score for Waxworks. That was written in 3 days.
I'm sticking with it. That's hilarious. What did I give Waxwork?
I thought you either gave it a 3.5 or a 4.
I love it. That's hilarious.
Still a failing grade.
It's still a failing grade, but I think this one had more inconsistencies, and I maybe complained more about this one. And I think all my complaints are writing.
Yeah, well, you don't like loopholes that they gave us.
Yeah, exactly. Again, like it's not an aberration from reality. It's an aberration from the established internal logic of the movie. And that's what I complain about.
So what about the acting?
Acting, I gave it a solid 5.
Oh, okay. I gave it a 7. I thought that the actors, especially Vera, did a very good job.
Agreed.
But
I thought they did.
In the realm of great actors, I know that you have a more critical.
Yeah, so my rating scale is very restrictive because it has to encompass everybody in all works of film onto one spectrum. Right now, the top of my list is Laurence Olivier. So in a spectrum where Laurence Olivier is there, a good and a very good performance, which I think we saw in this movie, has to be a 5. Okay. So I thought the performances were very solid, very good.
Okay.
But you're not Laurence Olivier, so get over yourself.
So now we get down to the clue-in where I finally know, did Zach like it or not?
All right, so your predicted real rating was a 6?
Yes.
I gave it a 5.5. So it's close.
I was tempted to lower my score to a 5 later on.
Yeah.
Like even before we started recording, just based on the nature of this film. So I kind of predicted that kind of level. So
solid movie. I thought it was well made. I thought there were a lot of writing things that I would have tightened up. Mm-hmm. But overall, I thought it was a pretty good movie.
Okay, and that's fair. I come to understand your rating scale. It's harsher, more critical, but that doesn't necessarily mean you didn't enjoy it. It's just
yeah. And I also just to kind of give a clarification for why I feel like I've been very harsh on this movie, whereas we've watched something like Waxwork, and I'm not as hard on it because it's not. This is supposed to be a serious drama piece.
I wanted to give a real scare and seriousness that we haven't really done yet, even in our Halloween franchise.
Yeah, and so and not only is this supposed to be the real scares, it's also supposed to be real quality cinema. Mm-hmm. It's not just a genre movie; it's also it's supposed to be a good drama movie. So I'm grading it on that level. Mm-hmm. So as overall 5.5, and you gave it 7.5.
So I increased my score to a 7.5 versus my original, which was a 7. Okay. And that's just because of the more I pick up on it every time I do see it, the less I actually become scared of it the more times I see it. And so the more I'm able to absorb different parts of the film.
Interesting.
Now, I also know that your scale is based on you're supposed to be able to enjoy it the first time around, which I super did. I loved this the first time around. Mm-hmm. But the more I allow it to savor and I allow myself to kind of chew on it, the more
you get out of it.
Yeah.
No, that's great. That's how a movie should be.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see if you watch it again, say next season, mm-hmm. if anything changes in your view.
All right. So what would you give your heart rating?
10 out of 10.
Gat.
So my heart rating is just how much I really enjoyed it. And, the more I think about it, the more I really did. So on a very personal story, when I first saw the movie, I saw it at a theater. I was driving home by myself. It was, again, a rainy fall night. Spider comes creeping down from my windshield right in front of my face.
Whoop! How do I keep doing that?
Yeah. So it felt like a piece of the movie was following me home. So from a heart perspective, it lingered with me. There are certain parts of the movie that still creep me out. I don't know. I just think it's a new classic.
All right. Well, my heart rating is, usually my heart rating is higher than my real rating. Mm-hmm. So my heart rating for this is a 3.
Interesting. So
I don't think I've ever gone the opposite way before.
Yeah, this is definitely a first one.
And it's not that I hated the movie, and obviously I thought it was a well-made movie. I don't know, something about it it didn't grab me. I think a lot of it was the writing and inconsistencies, and especially the smug leading. I guess you'd consider him the leading man,
mm-hmm. Ed Warren.
I really didn't like him. I thought he was
smug, and I thought he was worse with the smugness in the second one.
Maybe he was, and I just don't remember. But he just seemed smug and condescending, and it seemed like it was a very kind of pro-proselytizing Christianity type of movie. Mm-hmm. And none of that works its way into my heart.
Okay, and that's fair.
Although I do give this movie, I just thought of this, I think I have to give this movie a point in some category or other for not showing an upside-down cross, I don't think.
They get knocked down, but they don't go full upside down.
Yeah.
The second one had a lot of upside downs.
I know, and that really annoyed me.
I just imagine how the set person behind the wall, like, twisting around, like getting an upper body workout. Just
I'm
twisting.
the upside-down cross man. I've got to do my job.
And then I wonder if they cross 1, cross 7.
Probably, yeah. He's got to do it like that. That's funny.
So you can't see my hand gestures, but like I was going to different places.
You were doing like Dr. Frankenfurter was with the colors.
Pink, blue.
Yeah.
So that wraps up our spooky season. Thank you for participating in our spooky season.
Spooky.
So I've decided that we're gonna take a break from spooky films and move into something a little more wholesome, a little more family friendly, and we're going to enjoy The Great Mouse Detective.
The thing about this is, I think I've seen this movie. I mean, it's just been since I was a kid, so I don't know. This may be another weird aberration for the podcast. I'm pretty sure I've seen this movie.
I don't know. It was in 86.
Well, I'm going to watch it now, proving that it's possible to watch after the fact. All right, so here, I'll play it, and I'll take my headphones off, and I'll just watch.
Okay. Aladdin.
And the excitement of The Little Mermaid comes a tale of mystery, suspense, and a great big adventure in The Great Mouse Detective. When a beloved toy maker disappears, delightfully wicked, there's only one mouse for the job.
Basil of Baker Street, my good fellow.
Together with his trusty sidekick, he's ready to crack the case.
Your father is as good as fun, Miss Flamhammer.
Flaversham.
Whatever.
But only if he can stop a
slimy, contemptible sewer rat. Tricky and wicked, of course.
The clues are in.
Basil of the case.
The pressure is on.
I'm right behind you, Basil.
And the adventure is about to begin.
To Buckingham Palace.
Say cheese.
Smile, everyone.
For the mouse who always gets his man.
I thought I'd never find you.
Elementary, my dear Dawson.
The film Joel
they're
Siegel
showing the
calls
whole movie.
Magic. And Siskel and Ebert give 2 thumbs up. Disney's animated classic, The Great Mouse Detective.
Miss Lanchester.
Flaversham.
Whatever.
Well, I'm still pretty sure I've seen the movie, but honestly, it's been so long, and I was so young when I saw it, I don't really remember most of it.
And I will say that I haven't seen this one in at least 15 years. So that is going to be an excellent rose-tinted nostalgia rating because I remember a lot of the movie. I don't remember all of it, but every knee-jerk experience I've had says that Zach is going to like this one.
So this is, how do you go about choosing which movies you think I should watch? Is it something that you really love the movie, or is it just kind of something that pops in your head you think I should see?
Sometimes it's a trigger, like you'll say something or we'll be talking about something and something comes up to trigger the movie. In this case, I was just thinking I would like to do a family film, and then I was thinking, what better family film than one that is embodying Sherlock? Because I know of your love of Sherlock.
All right. So what would you give this as a nostalgia rating?
My nostalgia rating, I'm going to say 6.5 out of 10.
All right. Well, there you have it. It's going to be The Great Mouse Detective next time.
Yep.
Look forward to that, folks.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a good old-fashioned, wholesome Disney experience.
Exactly. And, a lot of mystery to boot, and one of Vincent Price's last roles.
Vincent Price?
Indeed. And so, yeah, thank you for joining us on this lovely spooky Halloween season.
Spooky.
A special thanks to Julian Crowhurst, who is the composer of our intro music.
The arranger.
The arranger.
The Ranger, Power Ranger. By the way, isn't he supposed to be remixing our theme?
Yes, he's going to be doing a remix of our opening to have a livelier, crisper sound now that we're using the full song versus the truncated version.
Well, isn't that just neato? All right, well, I guess that's been this. That wraps up this episode of Rose Tinted Reels. This has been, The Conjuring.
And I realized I don't think we said who we were at the start of the record.
Well, if it matters to anybody at this point, my name is Zachary Duncan.
I'm Allyson Krause.
And this has been the rose-tinted fucking experience, buddy.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, Barry White.
Hi, this is Barry White.
You got a when you say.
That's how he says it.
Barry White.
This is Barry White. And at Paul Quinn College, Saturday, September 13th, they got these, trying to cut a fucking spot, Tony. And they got these words all fucked up. That's one of my favorite lines. They got all these lines all fucked up.
Oh, you went in the red for a second there.
Oh, I did?
Yeah.
Oh, God, I Ricky Gervais.
That's true. You do have the Ricky Gervais laugh.
Okay.
Sudden and intense with unpredictable bursts.
It's true. I do have those unpredictable bursts.